Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. Hello. Hi, baby. How's it going? Oh, it's okay. I didn't get up when I had my alarm at 5:30. I don't think I did it right.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I put PM.
Yeah, it's like, I like to spend your time.
But the truck, the garbage truck woke me up.
Oh, okay. Let's try log on. Let's try log on.
Yeah.
Join.
And then we can hang up on the phone.
Okay, well then I guess let's make sure this connects first. Make sure, Wi-Fi. It's connecting. I don't see the Wi-Fi.
Did you click on it?
I'll click on the Wi-Fi.
Click on the symbol to see if it's connected.
No, it's like blank.
Okay, is the Frontier thing available?
Okay, let's see. So I click Frontier. Okay, it says requires the password.
What?
Yes, okay, you did that.
Oh, okay.
Really.
He took care of you guys.
Thank you again for being on here.
You're welcome. Of course, Poppy.
Okay. Okay.
No, I'll go get it in a bit. Thank you so much. Thank you for making coffee. Excuse me.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I think we're good now. So we're on the that's okay. Join.
Oh, there you go.
Run with computer. Okay, and then just take. Okay, got it. Do I need to do something up to echo on my end?
Yeah, we gotta hang up the phone. Turn on your computer. I mean, you're on mute now.
Okay.
There.
Bring it close.
There you are. Oh, this might help with my. They're nice curtains, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They don't look like they're from Walmart. They look like they're real.
They're actually nice.
There's some real, yeah, that's some real curtains right there.
Yeah, that's nice.
Mm-hmm. I won't be on camera right now because I just rolled out of bed.
Yeah, that's fine. No, that's fine. I just appreciate
you want to see me.
You being around. Hello.
Hi.
Okay.
Oh, wow, look how much whiter I look already. It was the lighting too. I lost my tan.
Okay.
So I gotta make you host, which I haven't yet. Let me do that now.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to. Okay, first, before I do this, I want you to do something first.
Okay.
I want you to click on that chat so you can have it out, like on the side, and then I want you to click on the
Chat. I think I have chat. It says type message here.
Okay, so then click on the participants so that comes out.
Participants. Okay, click on it.
Yeah, so then it'll be on the side, and then you'll
Okay,
be able
yes.
to see when people come in the joining room in the weight room. So I'm gonna make you the host, okay? So
Okay.
I won't be able to see that until
You get back till you
I
take it
come
back over.
back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm about to
Um,
make you host.
okay. I
Okay,
want
so
to,
Coach Lucky is the host now.
yes.
All right.
Okay. And then I am going to send you something that I want you um,
Share.
to share. Should I send it to your
Okay.
able or text or
You can text it. It comes
text?
to the laptop.
Okay.
Yeah. What I really wanted to do was connect, maybe when you get back, we'll do that. It's connect the laptop to your Apple ID. So then like even the text and all that is all in the same computer.
Oh, okay. I don't even know what that means. So,
You could text through the computer, basically.
oh, okay. Well, maybe
Yeah,
we'll do that later
when
because
you get back.
yeah.
Yeah, because I think you should, I mean, I might as well just give you that computer. I just don't know how much room there is, like, but you don't really keep files and things, so.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, okay. So I sent you that so you can share that
I
later.
got it.
Don't look at it now, but we can share that. We'll start off with that.
Okay.
And we'll start off with that and then, yeah, and go from there. So, okay. Well,
Yay, ¿cómo dormiste?
man, everything's good. How are you doing?
Good. I almost didn't wake up if it wasn't for the garbage trucks. I mean, I wasn't like passed out. I was just like in that, oh yeah, it's in bed. Let me just lay
Okay.
here longer without
Okay.
looking at the time. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was like, wait, garbage trucks, that means it's 6.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, man. Seriously.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I guess Silani made the coffee, so that's good. I can just go get ready then.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. That sounds good. And yeah, that sounds good. Okay. Well, I'll be here, so I appreciate it. And you can go ahead and do what you're doing.
Okay, chulo, te amo.
Okay. I'll talk to you in a minute. Bye.
Text me if you have any issues before I come back.
Okay.
Okay. Go.
Nope, everything's good.
I just got my coffee. I still gotta get ready, but I wanted to check on you.
Yeah, everything's good. No one's popped in yet. Everything is good.
Okay, awesome. Let me make sure the email went out. Yes, the email went out. Okay. All
Thank you
right.
so much. I appreciate all the help.
You're welcome. All right. All right, I'm gonna get ready now.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome, puppy. Sexy.
No,
Yes.
no,
Okay, I'll be back.
no, 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 no.
All right, I'll be back.
Okay, no, no, no. Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Hey, coach, I thought I was in the wrong place for a few seconds.
Oh man, no, I'm I'm visiting my parents down here, so I'm down here in LA. So I'm visiting my parents for Thanksgiving. So I told them they got to make room, make some space. We got things to do. The show must go on. Show must go on. So I'm coming live from the corner of the living room.
Woohoo! That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. How you
That's,
doing? Happy Thanksgiving. How you doing? Good morning, Latoya. Good morning.
Good
I'm
morning. Good morning.
Morning. How you ladies doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Another week down.
Yes.
Just trying to get some coffee in me. Just trying to get some coffee in me.
Try to start it up. Try to fire it up.
I'm joining you.
Nah, nah. I actually got up and did yoga this morning. That's just like getting into the routine now.
Okay. Okay. Right on. How was your week?
Mine has been pretty good. I've been real productive,
Mhm.
real productive in the household.
Okay. Hey, wherever it counts. Wherever it counts.
And I did not cook Thanksgiving dinner or clean.
Hey,
I went.
man.
I went to Golden Corral.
Hey, well, Merry Christmas early then to you. You had Christmas already. Awesome. Leslie, how was yours?
Well, I didn't do Thanksgiving, the typical kind of Thanksgiving thing, because I have this new grandbaby in my life, and um, my daughter and her boyfriend are figuring out where they need to be on various holidays. So I
Oh,
opted to just hang out with my mom and let them go, visit with his family. And I made my mom grits and eggs and kielbasa sausage, and she thought I was queen for the day. So
oh, hey. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay. Sure. Okay. That's wonderful.
yeah,
That
it
is
was
wonderful.
good.
Yeah, I
Very
just
good.
came in town and ate. That was it.
That's
That was
that's
it.
the occasion I love the most.
Come in town and eat. Yeah, and as soon as all the euphoria of the holiday goes down, then I leave. I leave before everybody comes back to their normal selves.
Exactly. Exactly. While they're still wearing the mask.
That's it. That's it. That's it. While the lights are still on, the carnival's still going, I'm having a good time. When I
100%.
see, yeah, when I see them start
100%.
unplugging the rides and things, oh
My
yeah, it's time to go. That's my time to go.
my dad used to always say, you don't ever want to be the last one to leave the fair.
Man, yes, yes. My mom used to always say that too. Yeah, yeah, yes, yes. Don't stay to the end of hardly anything.
Yeah. So just to throw this at you while you're getting us ready for what we're going to go through today. One of the things that I struggled with this week that I realized is trusting myself in my decision making,
Okay,
especially in my business.
okay,
I go back and forth and I want to get a whole bunch of different opinions
okay,
before I, pull the trigger and make a hard decision to do whatever it is I need to do.
okay.
And I just feel kind of lost in the how do I exercise trusting my own heart.
I think you know isn't it, you have a grandbaby now and you're a mother,
I have two. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
isn't it amazing how if you pick your grandbaby up or your child when when you were from your daughter when she was a baby, isn't it amazing that like maybe they were crying, they were fussing or something, and you pick them up. And isn't it amazing how sometimes even after you pick them up, they don't stop crying? They'll stop for a second, but then they'll start back crying again.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that amazing? And so when that happens, what is that actually telling us? What is that telling us if they keep crying?
They have a need that hasn't been fulfilled yet.
Correct. So that means, so if they're a baby and they can do that, what that ability, what does it say about them and that ability? What is that telling us?
I my gut reaction is to say that they know they need what they need, and they're not going to stop till they get what they need.
So that means that means we were all babies, right?
Yeah.
So that means we came in with the same ability that they had. They just express it and they have not been conditioned or trained out of it. They know, like you said, they know they need what they need, and they're not going to let you pick them up and talk them out of it.
Right.
Right. They'll stop crying for a second because they feel like picking me up is part of the process. But if you stop this process anytime before finishing, I'm going to go back to what I was doing until you finish the rest.
Right.
So we came the your grandchild, your child, when you had her, and all of us were the same as far as babies. We came into the world with the ability to know what we want and to trust ourselves to say that just because you pick me up with you and all your maturity and all your your adultness doesn't mean I don't know what I want. That's why I'm crying in the first place. So I know that I know what I want, and until you give me what I want, not what you think, not what you believe, not what you hope, I am going to keep crying because that's the best way, the most effective, efficient way to get your attention. I'm
Right.
going to keep expressing this thing until you give me what I want. I trust myself. I trust that what I feel or want or need or like is good for me. It doesn't have to be good for you. You don't have to like it, know it, believe it, or agree. This isn't for you. This is for me. I know what is good for me. So saying that to say we come into this world with that knowledge. It becomes conditioned out of us. Oh, you don't know what you mean. You'll understand when you get older. You'll do this and do that. And some of those things are true, but we're talking about, we're not talking about whether we're hungry or we're thirsty or we're tired or we're this or that. We're talking about other things. But the point is that we become conditioned to think that what we think isn't right, or somebody knows better, or there's a better idea, or whatever else it is. And so saying all that to say that what you're looking for, you already came with. It's now just remembering that to be the case, that you trusted yourself enough to put your life at the earliest stages in the hands of someone else. You picked the person to do that with. You came in with all these skills. You came in with all this knowledge, and that knowledge and those skills are still there. They're just dormant because we have passed them off for someone else to do it. Right? So it's almost like having a chef or a maid. You can still cook and still clean, but you've just given that responsibility to someone else. And if the longer you've done that, the less familiar it feels when you take it back up. But you never lose the ability. We just get rusty in the application of it. And so to answer your question, it's really just to sit down and remember to remind and remind to remember. To sit back and say, you know what? If I knew my diaper needed to be changed, I didn't know the word diaper, I didn't know the word change, but I knew help, fix it, right? I didn't know Gerber or I didn't know breast milk, but give me something now, right? You came in, we come in with all these abilities. So it's not something that we have to actually search for or on the outside or acquire from the outside. It's really just to go back in and say, if I had this then, then I don't think I gave it away or lost it. I just may have not have used it for so long that I kind of forgot that it's actually a natural part of who I really am. The knowledge of what's good for me. What's good for me? Your parent, I mean, you're a parent and you have a granddaughter now. We're always looking at the baby, but nobody's standing there waiting for the baby to use the bathroom or waiting for the baby to be hungry to eat. So there's a lot of things that are going on within us that we have to alert people to, right? So we have to have the ability to know what that is, to know what we want from where we are. And so I submit to you that what you are looking for, that ability to trust yourself, that ability to believe that what you want is good and best for you, is a natural ability. It's an innate ability. And it's just something that you have to begin practicing again to shake the rust off, to be comfortable with it, right? Even if it's just, I'm going to eat this because this is what I want to eat, and I'm going to believe in me. I'm going to take a walk around the block, even though people say it's raining, you're going to catch a cold. I feel like I want to take a walk. I'm going to strap this jacket on. I'm going to take a walk and say I'm healthy. Rain is not designed to make me sick. Just even little simple things that you feel, I'm just going to exercise my desire in this moment, and just get used to that habit. And that just getting used to that habit will just kind of reconnect you with the belief in that. That's all it is. It's just a lack of repetition.
I think you hit home with me when you likened it to a baby, because they know 100% what they want, and they aren't satisfied until they get what it is they want. Mm-hmm. And I think part of my challenge is I'm hesitating on what I actually want versus what I think is what I've been conditioned to think is acceptable.
Mm-hmm. And that's funny. I don't read the Bible much at all. But it's so funny that everything I read when I was a little kid comes back to me now, because now it has a sensible application. I can understand it. And right. For instance, right now, it's when you said that, and we talked about the baby thing, it reminds me of, it says, you basically, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven unless you become like a child.
Right.
And you'll realize that our most powerful selves are often expressed in our childhood, because we have not been conditioned by humanity to go against our beliefs, to second guess ourselves, to think something's impossible, to think we don't know what we're talking about. And so before we get conditioned that way, as the truest form of ourselves as a child, we really act most like a god, for lack of a better word. We act like our most powerful selves, because we know what we know, we believe what we believe, and we have to be conditioned for years out of that, right? To get to this point now where we're like, I know what I want, don't I? Right? I know what I want. Don't you think so? Right? I know what I want. Do you believe me? Right? Right? Where baby's like, my diaper's wet. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you know. I don't care if you don't smell it. Help. Right? Come over here right now and I'll show you. Right? Right? And so, yes, that it's so funny that entering the kingdom of God, meaning just our highest level selves, where we're really walking on that water, we're turning water into wine, where what does it say? The truth, there's no higher truth than ourselves. Right? When the Bhagavad Gita said that, there's higher truth than ourselves. So you listening to yourself, there's no higher truth than that, Les. That's the truth. The truth is there's no higher truth than that. And we have been conditioned out of it. So then when we start returning to it, because to your last thing I was saying is that, to your point, you listening to yourself is actually letting you know that you're coming back to your right mind. You not being satisfied with listening to yourself is letting you know that you're actually coming back to your mind, to your childlike mind, the truest form of who you really are. When you first came from non-physical to physical, you came with all these skills within this physical body. Right. And as you awakened, you turned on all these skills within your body. You started walking, you started talking, but those things weren't given to you. Those things were just expressed as you became more aware in this physical form. Right? So you listening to yourself is the truest sense of who you really are. And we've just been disconnected from that. We're just rusty. Right? So yeah, you're in your right mind by going back to it. Yes, do your thing. Do your thing. Right? Your grandchild's doing their thing. right? When you were
100%.
right, your baby, when you had her, she was doing her thing, and
100%.
and they did it so hard, so long, and so well that it made you do something as a result.
100%.
Yes, that's
100%.
that's it. So yes, absolutely. Well, hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's 7 o'clock, so on the dot, and we're gonna hit it like we always do. So welcome to another Saturday morning, Saturday school, Thanksgiving edition. This is this is a road show this weekend. It's a road show. I'm down here in Southern California at my parents' house, visiting for Thanksgiving, getting ready to do an eat and run. And before the dishes need to be cleaned up and everything, I'm gonna get on up out of here first thing tomorrow morning before anybody starts asking for any help or any money or anything like that. I got to go, get out. So that's why it looks a little different today. We're doing a Los Angeles road show. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Enjoying your friends and your family and all that good stuff. It's good to see you all. Glad we're all awake and it shook the itis off a little bit to get it going. And that's what we're gonna do this morning. Okay. First thing, Veronica, you know what? Good morning to you as well. Can you please hit that link? We are going to listen to that first. So everyone put your listening ears on. This is a little warm up just to awaken our awareness and awaken our awareness. So we'll get started with this morning.
Okay.
Make sure you have your volume up so you guys can hear.
Oh, wait, wrong thing. Nope. What is going on here? Un momento, por favor. Technical difficulties. Here we go. And then let me refresh it so I can start over. Whoa.
I'm going to play a recording of people chanting, "That is embarrassing," 4 times. After the 4th time, write down what you hear. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. Interesting. Almost everyone here heard "that is embarrassing." Listen again and watch the screen. You heard the same thing every single time. Our eyes and ears take in electrical signals which our brains interpret based on our expectations. We don't see reality. We see our reality. I'm going to play a recording of people. That is embarrassing. 4 times.
Oops.
After the 4th time, write down what you hear.
All right. Did everyone hear that? What did we take away from that?
We have the ability to create our own reality based on the input and the environment that we're accustomed to.
Okay.
Everybody doesn't get the same information the same way at the same time.
Mm-hmm. One more? Anyone else?
I really wasn't able to pay attention, so I can't participate.
Okay. So essentially what he was saying was, we only hear things and we only see things through our lens, the lens of our consciousness. Whether it's through our eyes or through our ears, it doesn't matter how you get into the house, so to speak. It's through our experience. Our experience is based on our lens, which we call our identity. what we believe ourselves to be. Our world looks like it looks based on who we are believing ourselves to be. Not necessarily as it actually is, but it is as it is to us, because it is as it is to us. It is what we see based on who we are believing ourselves to be. Not what's available, not what's possible. We believe what we see what we are believing, not what's actually being said or actually heard by other people. We believe it through our own lens. We are experiencing our world through our identity, through who we are believing ourselves to be. Just like we go into a grocery store, there's a whole, let's say we go to the fruit aisle, fruit section. There's 1,000 options. We pick the one that is most appropriate for us. But it doesn't mean all those other options don't exist. We just pick the one that is most relevant to us. So when we are having experiences in life, the ones we see, the ones that we pick, are the ones that are most pertinent and relevant to us based on who we are believing ourselves to be, based on our own self-description, our own self-identity. That makes it our truth. Not necessarily the truth, not necessarily all that's available or possible, but all that's available and possible to us based on who we are, where we are now. I'm in California. If I wanted to see the Statue of Liberty, I could not see it from this state. It doesn't exist here, no matter how hard I work, no matter whether I'm a good or bad person, no matter how much I grind, no matter how many physical things I try to do, it does not exist where I am. I have to move to where it is in order to have that experience. So the experience that I do have, any experiences I have, are from California. Now, I can think of another place, I can talk about another place, I can know about another place, but I cannot experience any of those things physically firsthand from the state that I'm in, if it's not California. If it's California, I can do it. If it's not, I can't until or unless I move. So all the experiences that we have in life, all the other opportunities that we have beside the ones we're currently experiencing, the only ones we're experiencing are not the only ones that are possible. They're the only ones that are possible in the state that we're in the identity and the self-concept that we hold. So we don't see everything. We don't know everything. We don't access everything. We only see and know and access what is available to us from where we are. And if we would like to access more, if we would like to see more or be more, we just have to move in mind, change our identity, our self-concept, or whether it's of what we can be or do or have. And then all those other pieces of fruit in the grocery store, so to speak, all those other states in America or countries in the world, we can get access to, just like the one we have now. But if we are unwilling to do that or don't do that, those things still exist. They just won't exist to us. We just won't have any of those experiences or be able to capitalize on any of those opportunities. So what we call reality isn't necessarily real. It's just our reality. We have a personalized experience. Our life is like a custom-made suit, a custom-made piece of jewelry, a customized car or home, something that is made specifically for you based on who you believe you are, who you are perceiving yourself to be. That is what you call your taste or your preferences or whatever else it is. So as we change who we believe we are and who we believe ourselves to be, a lot of our preferences change. A lot of things we eat change. A lot of the things we watch change. A lot of places we go change. But all those places beforehand existed just like they do when we change, but they just weren't relevant and they weren't a part of our lives because they weren't a part of us. Right? So everything starts with us. Truly, everything starts with us. So just a good little warm up. Okay. If I said I get sick during flu season, it's flu season. Oh man, it's flu season. I always get sick during flu season. Man, every year it happens. Without fail, I get sick during flu season. What is that? It's a lot of things, but I'm looking for a particular thing. What is that?
Affirmation?
That's
Yes,
exactly.
I was gonna say that.
That's exactly what it is. It's an affirmation.
Yeah.
It's an affirmation. So when people say I'm doing positive affirmations or no, it's just an affirmation. And what is an affirmation?
It's a permission slip to say, this is what I identify as. Like, this is what I accept in my life.
Yep. What both of you said.
It's my niece. She's excited to be here.
That's right. Welcome. Welcome to you. Thank you for coming. That's exactly right. An affirmation is you're affirming something. You're saying something is true. There is no good or bad as far as the way, hi. There is no good or bad. There is just the law. And the law says whatever we believe ourselves to be, that is what it is. That's what we are, or that's what we become. Right? So I always get sick during flu season, or everything is always working for me. Those are both affirmations. They're not negative or positive. They are just you coming into agreement with an idea. You saying, let there be. In the book where that consciousness said, let there be light, that's an affirmation. It's saying, I'm in agreement with this experience. Let there be. There is no negative affirmation or positive affirmation. There's just an affirmation. An affirmation is just what you're saying now, like we talked about it last week, positive or negative thinking. An affirmation is just your agreement with a thought, an agreement with an idea. It's an agreement with an idea or a thought that will become physical. When that character said, let there be light, after that, what did it say? And there was light. So the physical is always following the idea. Anything in your life that has become physical was first an idea, whether it was your own or someone else's you accepted, whether you consciously accepted it or unconsciously accepted it. Like sometimes you ever been go to a doctor's office and he hears some music in an elevator, and you're going to or a dentist office and they have some music in the elevator, and then 2 days later you're singing this little song and you're like, where did I get that from? And you realize, oh, that's right, I was in the elevator, right? You unconsciously accepted something. It wasn't personal, but you saw how it got in, right? And then you started acting on it, right? It's just like an ingredient in a food. Just because you're having a whole experience, because you're biting into something, doesn't necessarily mean you know every ingredient in the thing. So you're going to taste what you know and what you don't, what you expect, and sometimes what you don't expect, what's unexpected, but it's still part of the experience, right? So an affirmation truly is any statement that we make that we are agreeing with that statement. We're saying, yes, let there be. I agree with this. I always get sick. I agree with, I'm just affirming my agreement with that, even if it's the outcome of it is no good or not to my best interest or not in my best interest. I'm still affirming it. I'm saying that it's so, let there be. And after that, the thing comes. The thing does not come before that. Our physical experience does not happen before an affirmation. That affirmation does not have to be verbal. That affirmation is just the awareness of being, saying, I believe myself to be. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're always affirming our name. I am this. Nice to meet you. My name is, right? We're always saying I am. We're always talking in the first person. We're always experiencing in the first person. We're always believing in the first person. And once that clicks, that becomes that thing that we're thinking and feeling and believing becomes physical. Let there be, and then there was. Let there be, and then there was. Let there be, and then there was. When we're affirming, we're saying, let there be. Cold, sickness, poverty, health, success, wealth, great relationships, terrible relationships. We're always saying, let there be, by saying, I am, I have, I feel. Not just in word, but just in our consciousness, in just what we know ourselves to be, and our assumption of being. Right? We're not always saying our name, but we know it. There's just a standing order, right? So we have to be very mindful with what those things are, right? Does that make sense to everyone? Everybody get that one? Anybody have anything to say on that one?
That's so true. That's just, yeah. I'm vibing. Yes.
All right. Awesome. Okay. moving on. Do you know how many diseases and illnesses there are in the world? You know how many
A
people
lot.
sneeze, right? Do you know how many people sneeze 30 seconds before you round the corner and you walk right into what's left? Do you know how many door handles, elevator buttons, refrigerator door handles, TV remotes? Do you know how many different things are out there and different things that you can catch? And even if you want to call yourself a germaphobe, right? Even if you want to call yourself a germaphobe and so you're wiping down everything constantly and you still walked around the corner, somebody sneezed. You didn't know it, didn't hear it, and you walked right into it. Would never know it. I mean, your own steering wheel handles. You're just, like I said, something as innocuous as would seem a refrigerator door handle, because you're in the house, you know everybody there, it's your family, but it's still a door handle. It still has germs. You still don't know whether they washed their hands in the last 2 hours, 2 days, whatever, right? You never know who touched it last. Meaning, even if you try to wipe everything down, even if you walk around with a mask forever, even if there's just certain things just by being alive and living that you just can't stop everything. You can't avoid everything. You don't know what to avoid. Like you never even know you never even realized or knew somebody sneezed 30 seconds ago before you got out of the elevator, right? Or before you got into the elevator, somebody sneezed on the 12th floor. By the time it got to the first floor, they opened up the door and walked out and said, good morning, good morning. You walked in right to an elevator with a whole bunch of sneeze in it, so to speak. How would you ever know, right? So saying that to say, if that's the case, and all these things are going on in the world, what keeps us healthy? Why do we not catch all the things that could be caught? What is it that keeps us healthy?
I don't know. Good morning, all. But
Good morning.
personally, it's my belief because we can't stop this and we can't stop that and we don't know what's around the corner. And I make a statement all the time. I cannot get sick. I have 3 sons. Well, I'm sorry, I always say that, but now I have 2 living sons. I had 3 sons. But I say I can't get sick because I know my sons love me. But if I need water on Monday, that don't mean I won't get it till Wednesday. Mom, I had to do this, and Mom, I had to do that. But they say they love me, right? So I make the affirmation, I make the stand out of my belief. I cannot get sick. And I don't. I've never had the flu. I've never had one of those million diseases beyond childhood stuff, chickenpox and measles. So personally, y'all, that's me. My belief keeps me well.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Right? So then what do people call the physical equivalent of that? Anybody?
Affirming.
Affirming.
Health.
Huh?
Health.
When people say, what do people call it in the body? The thing that they say keeps you healthy.
So physically, are you talking about my resistance is high
Yes.
or
What do they
okay.
call that?
Immunity.
Immunity. Your immune system.
Yeah.
Your immune system. So so what was previously said is true, and it is the non-physical version of that, right? Meaning what people call it physically is your immune system. They're trying to keep up your immunity, right? Your immune system. They say that your immune system is what keeps all the things outside of you from getting to you, so to speak, right? Your immune system. So if all these things exist and your immune system keeps you healthy, cool. Okay. Well, then what is governing and dictating your immune system?
I am.
And what is that?
God.
And what is that?
My consciousness.
Your consciousness. What, just like we just heard a minute ago, what you are believing is true for you. That is what is governing your immunity. So if you believe I'm always well, There is no blackout date. There is no Black Friday. There is no recession. There is no depression. What does it say in the book? I am God. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. So there's never a day where in your right mind, you should not be prospering and in good health, because that's the greatest wish for you. One of the greatest, above all things, I wish that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. So in our right mind, when we're thinking properly, good health is one of the thoughts, right? So that means that our consciousness is thinking good health. Our consciousness is giving directions to our immunity. So good health means our immunity would be high, right? When you want to hear music louder, you turn up the volume. You're aware of wanting an experience, and if you want heightened, you turn it up, right? In order to get more of that. So what is governing your physical body is your immunity. What is governing your immunity is your consciousness. What you are believing, you are. What you are believing your physical experience is. But you are the believer with a belief. You are a believer with a belief. Sparkle Bailey, I see you. Give me about 10 seconds. You are the believer with a belief. But if you ever seen a toddler and somehow they got a hold of a knife off the kitchen table, somebody dropped it or left it, and you're like, oh my God, right? That's like the believer with a bad belief. They have something powerful that they're not mature enough in their mind to understand that this thing in my hand, if I don't know what I'm doing, will get me and possibly somebody else hurt. I am the believer with a belief. And if my mind is not matured enough, this belief that I have as the believer can get me or somebody else hurt. In this case, can get me sick. I'm the believer with a belief. And if the belief that I'm holding as the believer is not, I'm always well, or if you want to say, I can't get sick, whatever turns you on. But if the belief that you are holding as the believer is not proper or inappropriate, it's like a toddler with a knife. It's only a matter of time before you do it to yourself, because you are the believer with a belief, right? And you as the believer with this belief, in this case, immunity, right? Health is going to then tell your immunity how strong to be, how much to fight off, how much to let get to you or not, or how far to let it go. It is being governed by you. It's like a thermostat. You're governing it. You're setting it. It's like volume on a TV, on the radio. You're governing it. You're setting it. As we mature, we learn how to work the instruments around us as a reflection of our desired experience. Sparkle Bailey.
Coach Lucky, I wanted to share this kind of story. There was, when the pandemic first happened, my husband became ill with COVID. Mm-hmm. And the kids were out of school because public mm-hmm. schools had all the children at home. Mm-hmm. It was just a total pandemic. It was insane. And so he became ill, and he was in my son's room. He mm-hmm. isolated himself in my son's room, and my son was in the living room. My daughter was in her room, and I was in my own bedroom. Mm-hmm. And it was just, the energy in the house was just like, this is the most toxic room. Like, this is the poisonous room. That's how my son's room was treated. Right. It was just, it was insane. However, everybody steered clear of him. I took care of the things he needed, but everybody kind of steered clear of him for the most part, because of all the hype that was being discussed about, like how, this person's pretty much going to die, and, just start saying your goodbyes and blah, 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 whatever, and all this other stuff. And I had a seizure while he was down. I had a seizure. One of those days I had a seizure. And when I came to, I wasn't even like all the way in my right headspace, because I had a seizure on the floor. My children remember this because they had to tend to me. And so when I came to, the first thing I did was I took off all my clothes, and this is according to them, because I don't remember none of this. But I took off all my clothes, and I opened the door to my son's room, and I crawled into this twin-size bed with my oversized husband. And I just curled up next to him, because that's the only place in my subconscious, that's the only place I wanted to be, was next to him. After I had a seizure, I was very vulnerable. I was very childlike. in the mind, as though like I knew I needed to depend on someone. I knew I didn't have it all together. My brain had just kind of gone through an electrocution of sorts. Mm-hmm. And so I needed to be in a safe space. And my brain automatically, like a robot, went into the room where he was and laid next to him. Mm-hmm. And the children were just, Mom, you can't lay next to Dad. He's sick. You're going to get sick. You got to get out of here. Like, and he was so sick. I remember this. He was so sick. He could barely talk, but he was like, just leave her alone and let her rest. And at that time, it's not that I don't think he believed or didn't believe in COVID, but he knew at the end of the day, like, this is her safe. I am her safe space. Mm-hmm. And it was something inside of my mind from the time he got sick with COVID until this moment right now. Like, I never believed that was for me. I never believed COVID was a thing for me. Mm-hmm. You know, the way he processes illness and things like that, that's on him. That's his responsibility. Mm-hmm. But the way I process illness is just like, okay, come on, let's knock this out of you. Let me give you these herbs. Let me give you this cold pressed juice. Let me give you these, you know, this honey or whatever you need to get you back on your feet, because you are our provider. So let me get you back to 100%. But I said that to say I never caught COVID ever. And I did sleep in the bed with him. Mm-hmm. Because like that was my safe space. Mm-hmm. But I didn't believe all those times, like, you know, people around me with COVID, or I heard about somebody in a public space where I was having COVID. I never related to COVID. So I felt like the weirdo who just is like, man, y'all over here catching COVID because y'all believe in this crap. Like, you can't tell someone, and I don't do those conversations with people where I'm trying to convince you or introduce you to concepts, because I've done that before. And to the people who are not ready to view themselves as conscious or gods or all powerful, it's a pointless conversation. So I just keep my knowledge to myself and talk about stuff like this with those who also understand their own powers and their own abilities. But I never accepted COVID as a real thing. You know, I haven't been sick in years. I don't even know how many years it's been. I don't get sick. My thing is speaking life into being done with epilepsy. Like focusing on how epilepsy does not exist in my world. That's my focal point. But there are things like the flu and COVID and a common cold and things like that. It's not real to me, you know? So I just wanted to share. Thank you for letting me share.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. It's funny how with anyone that we love, how what we'll oftentimes accept for ourselves, we won't accept for them. Sometimes we're so sick, we won't even eat. But if we have kids, we'll get up and cook, right? Because they need to eat. And so the strength that you feel like you can't find for yourself, that strength becomes immediately available when you are applying it to someone else you love. And what he thought of himself in that moment, he no longer allowed that. Your health made him bigger than COVID in that moment, not for himself, but for what he needed to be for you. A lot of times we become bigger than the thing that we feel smaller than in moments where something becomes just more important. When a mother's lifting up a car, she can't lift up no car normally, but let her kid go under there. Let something be of real consequence. Boy, she'll be lifting that thing up like some kind of sumo wrestler with one hand and pull their kid out with the other. Because in that moment, a car's weight doesn't matter to you. It's nothing. Because what's under it matters more, right? What we love matters more. That becomes bigger than the object, than the disease, than the car, than my health. It just becomes bigger, right? And in that moment, it lets you know what we're doing on these calls is remembering that, and is learning how to use that proactively, consciously, and purposely to say, if I could do this in disaster, let me just do this as a lifestyle. Let me just do this on Tuesday. Let me realize that I'm bigger than this. I'm stronger than this car. I'm bigger than COVID. I'm bigger than epilepsy. I'm bigger than debt. I'm bigger than doubt. I'm bigger than fear. I'm bigger than not the human me, not the physical body me, but the me that makes this physical body alive. The power in me, consciousness, right? So when we say God and I say, what is that? I'm always trying to make sure that we apply it to ourselves, not this vague being outside somewhere else, 30,000 miles up in the sky or in the world or on a throne or with a white beard or something else, whatever we've believed it to be for so long. But our consciousness, our awareness, what are we believing ourselves to be? Right. And in that moment, that mother whose child's under that car, they believe themselves to be something different than they did 2 blocks before that or 2 hours before that. Your husband believed himself to be different when you got in the bed because that it was bigger. You were more important than how he felt. He rose up where for himself, maybe he wouldn't have, but for you, it was like, okay, it's go time. I'm bigger than this now. And this is not going to go past this now. That's enough. Right? Or when you have a cold and you're like, oh God, but your kids need to eat before they go to school. And somehow you shuffle in there and make a way, right? And them kids like, oh, the food is good. And you're like, how? You can't taste it, can't even smell it, and they over here tearing it up, right? When you just, there's that moment in you. The last thing I'll say is, and just if anybody else wants to say anything, but last thing I'll say is physically, when you ever really been so hungry that like you start to shake a little bit, or you start to almost feel weak, kind of. You just feel like, ooh, God, I need something right now, right? And when you eat, right, whatever you ate is not actually doing anything for you in that moment. What happens is your body turns on to digest what you're eating. So the energy that you feel that you didn't feel before you started eating something, the energy you feel is actually being pumped from a reserve in your body because it needs to turn on to digest what you're putting in it. So when you feel like, oh, I feel better because I ate, no, you feel better because the motor, the engine in your body turned on to digest what you ate or what you're eating. That is actually the energy that you're feeling. Your body has not assimilated that food enough to get it to anywhere for you to feel better physically yet. Not that quick. Not as quickly as you do. It's just that you're tapping the stores of your body in order to digest this food. So what I'm saying is, to Sparkle Bailey's point, to I believe that was Karen's point, to what we're saying here is that there are already things in us that we only tap when necessary. But it's always there. A lot of things that we're waiting for or looking outside for are always there. They've already been there. We just didn't know it. And so what we are doing here is becoming conscious and consciously aware that it's already there. And when you feel like you're too weak to move, but you would do it for your kids, now after today, you realize, well, if I can do it for them, then I can do it for me. I just only turn it on because I love them so much I can't let them down. Well, now you realize I love me enough not to let me down either. I'm going to get up because I don't want to be here, right? I've had enough, right? That there's the power's in me to get up for them, then there's power in me to get up for me. And a lot of times we just don't exercise that power until something becomes so much more important than the idea we're holding, than the cough that we're expressing. You know what? I ain't got time right now. Put that over there. I ain't got time for that right now, right? And so I get up and make them breakfast. I get up and pull my kid from under the car. I get up and make sure that this person who is in this moment worse off than me, I can put my state to the side, right? Stuff like that, right? There is power in you already to be for everyone else. There's power to be for you too. And a lot of times we just don't tap it or access it until something outside of us becomes more important than what we are currently expressing, right? And to realize that if we can do it for them, we can do it for us, right? Stuff like that, right? So thank you, Sparkle Bailey, for sharing. Thank you, Karen, for sharing what you said. Anyone else have anything they wanted to say before we?
I do.
Yes. Yes.
So I kind of did this in reverse, actually. About a week and a half ago, I was sick with the flu. And when my fever broke, I got up and I was like, oh, I'm feeling better. And I went to go install a new shower head in my shower. My birthday gift to myself, right?
Happy birthday.
And oh, thank you. And the piece fell and hit me in the head. Like split my head open and I was bleeding. I was on the phone with Sparkle Bailey actually and another friend. So they saw it happen, and it was like, okay, this is my sign from the universe that you need to sit your butt down. Mm-hmm. So I actually welcomed the fact that I needed to rest and relax and just put myself out of commission for a bit so that I could take care of myself, mm-hmm. and take care of everybody around me. Mm-hmm. And I made it through like all of that, getting better, recuperating. Right now, like my house is like sparkling clean. I clean my son's room. I reorganized like his laundry, like all this stuff. Like it's crazy. Like I've been getting up and doing yoga for the past couple of days. Like I'm like starting a routine. So it was kind of like you needed to rest and relax so that you can have this transformation. And it was just amazing. So I don't know, maybe it's in reverse. I don't know. But like you said, we create our own reality, and that's what I did.
Anyone else before?
Real quick, Coach, you
Yes.
you brought home a lot of the research that I've been listening to from Joe Dispenza. And, you know, I've been listening to a lot of his content and looking at a lot of his research, and you just made it completely crystal clear on why what he does works.
Okay. Well, hey, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Good. Whatever clicks for us, that's awesome. Okay. So the whole point of this is, right, if there's no enemy within, the enemy without can do you no harm. And so what we call our consciousness, what we call physically our immune system, that's within. And if that's clicking, then everything on the outside can do you no harm, right? Because everything on the outside is just a physical reflection of an idea. And whatever ideas we hold within, the physical world is a reflection of that. And so as we are consistently, consciously choosing what we are aware of being, doing, having, how our life goes, how things go for us, whether it's our health, our money, our relationships, any life, or any area of life, any aspect of life, our life as a whole, then the physical things in the world are here to reflect that, right? And so we don't have to change the world, we just change ourselves. We don't have to worry about the outside. That's why I started off. Do you realize how many things out here can get you theoretically? How many diseases there are on door handles, refrigerator handles, in your house, outside your house, in the elevator? You could never do anything if that were the case. You can't avoid everything. You just couldn't even live, essentially, right? Your sheets and then your blankets, and then there's dust here, and you would go insane trying to avoid everything. You just couldn't do it. So what keeps you healthy from all of these things that are theoretically available and possible, right? It's your immune system. And the strength of that is determined. The stronger it is, the more it keeps off of you, so to speak. But that immune system is governed by your consciousness. And that consciousness is what you call God. That consciousness is, what am I believing myself to be? It's the universe. It's Allah, Buddha. It's whatever you want to call that thing, but it's your awareness. And what are you aware of being? Are you aware of being healthy? Are you aware of being unhealthy? Are you aware of being sick during flu season? Your consciousness is your immunity. It is what is keeping things on you or off of you, because it's only using physical things to express what it is you're consciously aware of being. So when we look in our physical world, it lets us, everything physical was first an idea. An iPhone and the flu, they're both an idea that have physical expressions. And if you don't have the idea to make an iPhone, you won't. If you don't have the idea that I am this, you won't be that. Whatever it is, you will not be the physical reflection of an idea you don't hold. It does not have to be your idea. It could be an idea that you created or an idea that was given to you by someone else, right? The media, friends, family, at a younger age, especially when you're more impressionable, right? So, but we cannot express anything that we don't have the idea of, consciously or unconsciously. And our subconscious is still consciousness. It's just it's something we can't see. And that's why a lot of our physical world doesn't make sense, because we have a lot of our beliefs that are deep rooted and that we've held for a long time are in our subconscious mind. So they are still part of our mind and active, But since we can't see them, we don't realize they exist, right? So it's like jumping into a shallow pool. We don't realize that the floor is a lot closer than we thought. But because there's water on the top, we think it's deep, like it's all the same size pool, and it's not. The deep end may be further down, right? So sometimes you jump head first into a shallow pool, and you know what that ends up like, right? So a lot of our deep-rooted, deep-seated beliefs of any and area and every aspect and area of our life are a lot of times subconscious. They're not at the surface level. We don't realize we have them. So when we look around our world, a lot of times it doesn't make sense because we would say, well, I would never consciously think that. I didn't remember thinking that. Well, there's a lot of things you don't remember thinking, like your name every day, but you know it. It's still a part of you. And you don't think it every day all the time because it's such a part of you. You don't need to think it to know it. You don't have to remember it. It's just there upon recall. It's as soon as somebody asks you your name, oh, it's Leslie. Oh, it's Veronica. Oh, it's Barkle Bailey. You're not walking around saying that to yourself. You're not affirming it. It's been affirmed to you since birth. So now it's just a part of you. Right. But it's not a conscious part of you all the time. But it is a part of you. And when something taps it, right? When flu season comes, it'll let you know what you're conscious of or not, and subconscious of or not. When someone asks your name, it'll let you know what you consciously and subconsciously know, right? It'll come back to the surface quick, but it's always there. And so what we're here to do is be aware of our conscious decisions and realize that what we repeatedly consciously decide to assume, believe, choose becomes subconscious at some point. And once it becomes subconscious, it becomes a part of our life. It becomes physical then. No matter how fast, some things become that quick. Some things take a little longer to get down there. But whatever we believe, depending on what it is and who we are. And as we believe that, things get into our subconscious, then it becomes a part of us. It becomes like a stain on a shirt. If you leave it there too long, right? It becomes like water in wood. It becomes part of it, and it just seeps into it and becomes part of it, right? So our conscious thoughts, what we are choosing to accept, become part of our subconscious belief system. And then that becomes a part of our physical world, right? In whatever it is. So our immunity, right? All the things that are going on in the world, fear, stress, anxiety, poverty, all the physical things externally are only enemies if we have its counterpart psychologically inside, inwardly, right? If there's no enemy within, the enemy without can do you no harm. There is no enemy on out if there's no enemy within, right? There's nothing to physically experience if it's not a part of your internal thought process, thought system, belief system, right? That you can't bite into a cookie with cinnamon if there's no cinnamon in it, right? You can't press on an apple and orange juice come out. There's no orange in it. The physical world is nothing but an expression of our internal world. And to change our external world, we must change our internal world, right? We must pick different. Just like you can't make an orange and apple no matter how long you put it on your counter. You have to choose something different. You can't make a bad thought a good one, a good outcome, no matter how long you hold it, no matter if you're a good person or it doesn't matter, right? The law is no respecter of persons. What you are believing yourself to be becomes physical at some point, right? Some faster, some later, depending on what it is and how intensely you assume yourself to be that thing. All right. Does everybody understand that? Any questions, comments, statements before we move on to the next one?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Feelings. This one's important because I think we have to make sure we have a firm understanding of feelings, what we mean by feelings. Because what most people mean by feelings and what they are and how to use them is not the way we are or the way we need to have an understanding of them. Has anybody ever gone to work with a headache? Anybody ever drove in traffic and your foot was hurting? Anybody ever, have you ever washed the dishes and your leg was sore? Meaning, have you ever done something and you not felt your best or didn't feel like doing it, but you did it anyway? Right? And the outcome of what you did is what you got, not necessarily how you felt, but what you did, right? Our feelings are not something to be afraid of. They're not, we are, just like I said, we are the believer with beliefs. We are the thinker with thoughts. We are the feeler with feelings. And our feelings are not just because we don't feel the best today, just because we don't feel as rich today, just because we don't feel as healthy today, just because we have a physical feeling or a thought of a feeling or a thought or a belief, just because it's not the holiest of the holy and the highest of the high, does not mean we are doomed to some kind of inevitable outcome. That's not what we're talking about here. We're not running from anything. We don't have to be afraid of everything. Oh my God, am I thinking the right thought? I need to change it right now. Otherwise, it's not like that. It's what people are talking about then are emotions. When people are emotional, when in the sense of when people are expressing something intensely or uncontrollably. That's not the same thing as when we talk about feelings here. Feelings, what we talk about are feelings just like thoughts or just like beliefs. They are things that you can have, that you can choose, and that you want to choose wisely, but they are not something that are going to automatically doom you just because you have one that isn't the best. Just because one crosses your mind, or you have a day where you wake up and you're like, oh God, I can't wait to get back in the bed and I haven't even got out yet, right? I can't wait for this day to be over and it hasn't even started yet. Or somebody, somebody call your phone, somebody call you and you look and you're like, oh man, not now, not today, not today. I ain't got it. I don't, right? Or you see somebody coming down the street and you're like, oh, this, right? Just, we have moments, we have days, we have thoughts, we have feelings, we have a thought that goes across our mind, we have a feeling that comes up, and those things are just part of not only ourselves but the environment around us, the day, and they are not something to be feared or worried or afraid of, right? There's something to be aware of. There's something to say, okay, this is a thing I'm choosing, or this is a thing that is being presented to me. What do I want to do with it? Do I want to entertain it? Do I not? Do I want to sit with it? Just like, I don't know if that was Latoya. I think that was Latoya. I was talking about the shower head, I think. But if it wasn't, forgive me. If it was, I'm just always right. So either way it goes.
It was.
Oh yeah, it's perfect.
It was. You're good.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, even if I wasn't, it's not my fault. But when she said, I'm just gonna sit here and just downshift it a little bit. I'm just gonna sit here and just relax a little bit. I'm just gonna sit here and just kind of take it down a little bit. And because this is good for me. Like Leslie and I were talking about early before the 7 o'clock call, knowing what's good for you. That's why if you're on the call, I've always said to you all, and we always talk about, I don't care what you want. I just want you to have it. I'm not on here ever telling people what they should want, so to speak. What our intention here on this call is to realize you can have anything that you want. So choose wisely. You're rich, you're wealthy, right? In mind, you can have anything, and in anything you can have in mind, you can have in hand. And so choose, like the grocery store. I don't care what you pick what's good for you. If you feel like, you know what, I'm going to sit down, sitting down and getting some rest is good for me. If getting up is good for you, get up. Whatever is good for you, do what's good for you. My intention is to bring to your awareness that you can choose what's good for you. And to choose what's good for you. Don't let everybody else tell you what's good for you all the time. Because you end up living other people's lives in your life, and on your life, and on your time, on your dime, and on your back, and on your spine. Right? What's good for you? What do you want to be, to do, or have? We were talking about that earlier. As we came into this world as babies. We knew how to cry. We knew how to laugh. We knew how to smile. We knew how to do everything necessary to get to the point where we could take care of ourselves as we matured. But for a while when we were babies, we put our lives in the hands of someone else. Well, we had to learn how to get their attention. We had to know how to do that. We had to, whether it's crying, whether it's whatever else it is. But we were crying because we wanted something. And until we got what we wanted, we kept crying. So we came into this world knowing who we are, knowing what we wanted, knowing how to choose something, knowing that this is good for us. I don't want this. I don't like that. I don't like oranges. I like apples. I don't want this. I like this. I don't want that. I want this. My diaper needs to be changed, whatever else it is. We came into this world with the ability of knowing who we are and knowing what's good for us. As we came into this world through society, through all the humans around us, mostly adult, we have been conditioned to second guess that. To say, oh, well, this is good for me. Well, what do you think? This is a good idea, isn't it? Well, right, this is true, right? We start looking for external validation from other people who are oftentimes just as lost as us, just as brainwashed as us, who have been conditioned just as much as us to not believe in themselves, to not believe in their own desires, their own to be, to do, or to have. Oh, I really want to get I want to get a Porsche. Girl, you don't really need that. Why? A Mazda is just as good, right? People will downshift your dream so fast. Well, you'll go from Nordstrom to the Dollar Tree in a 5-minute conversation, right? Well, you know that you can just go to outlets and get the same thing for a different price. I don't want to go to outlets and stand in line for 2 hours. I want to go to Nordstrom and buy this thing in 2 minutes, right? Right. There's nothing wrong with the outlet. There's nothing wrong with Nordstrom, but you have to make sure whichever one you go to is good for you. And a lot of times we have been conditioned to second guess what's even good for us. Can you imagine if a baby did that? My diaper's wet. Let me cry so I can get, let me get this wetness off me. Well, you know what? Nobody's come to see about me, so maybe it's not wet. That would be instant. So now you're gonna sit up there with a diaper rash. Well, how many diaper rashes do we have? All of us got a whole bunch of diaper rashes. Second guessing ourselves, sitting in a whole bunch of stuff we shouldn't be sitting in because we're second guessing ourselves. Well, if no one else tells us we're smart, maybe we're not. If no one else tells us we can have our own business, maybe it's not true. Oh, you can't make soaps and butters and be a millionaire. No, nobody do that. You can't be this or be that. Nobody do that. Well, if you do that right, you're going to have to do this and that and the other. And boy, they'll either take your dream, kill it, or modify it so much you won't even recognize. They'd be like, oh, you have your own business? Yeah, what do you do? I don't really know. Hey, Leroy, what do we do? You don't even know what you do, talking about you got a business. Don't even know what you do because people have changed it so much, you've given it away to everyone. Everybody has something to say about what you have, what you are, what you can be, what you can do. And we've been conditioned to believe them more than us. We started off with something and end up with nothing. Or we start off with something and end up with someone else's something, right? We're going into a restaurant and everybody's ordering for us and we're paying the bill. And we get home and try to just make it work. Well, they ordered this and they ordered that. Maybe if I put it together, you paid full price for a meal you can only eat 10% of because everyone else chose it. They chose what they liked, right? So our feelings, our thoughts, our beliefs, as we've been talking about, they're just choices. They're just things that we can use as barometers and as almost markers, as identifiers, as things that we can use to guide our experiences, to say this is good for us, this is the right direction, this isn't, this is too hot, this is too cold, too sweet, too salty, whatever else it is. And we can pick and choose, and a lot of times our thoughts and our feelings, our beliefs are there to help us make the right choices for us, not for everyone else, for us, for us, for us, for us, for us. And we came into this world with the ability to know what's good for us. We've been conditioned to believe that we don't. We've been conditioned to believe that someone else knows better all the time now. But we don't lose that skill or that ability. It's just rusty. It's just been sitting in the back like our high school yearbook, right? With dust and everything else. It's just a memory. But we can always go back and dust it off and open it up. We can always reapply that skill that is just lying dormant. It's not non-existent, it's just dormant. And we haven't seen it in so long, we think we don't have it. And we haven't seen it in so long, we think we don't have it. And then we realize, we question if we ever had it, but we do. We've always had it. It's never gone. Your ability to choose for you, your ability to see for you, your ability to know what's best for you is always there. Yes, there is wisdom in a multitude of counsel. Sometimes you just want to hear what people have to say because it may help you make a better decision about what you want, but not necessarily to change what you want or to get rid of what you want. They may know there's a shortcut. They may know of a discount you can apply for your shoes. Oh yeah, girl, I got a discount. I went there and I got a 25% off. Cool. right? But not to take away your thing, not to remodify it or to the point that you can't even recognize it. You went to buy some Jordans, now you came back with some Vans, trying to play basketball in some Vans. Now your ankle sprained and feet hurt. And the person who told you to change your mind doesn't even play basketball, right? So you out there with your feet hurting and they out at home with their feet up, right? So there is wisdom in a multitude of counsel. There's nothing wrong with listening to other people, taking other people, especially whom you respect, in the area of the advice you're seeking or the wisdom you're seeking or the counsel you're seeking. Nothing wrong with that. But it's not to always second guess yourself or to believe in what they want or what they say or what they think more than what you believe or what you say or what you think. That's what we are here to understand. That within you are all your dreams, all your goals, all your desires. They're there. And when we go back inside and say, what is it I really want? Let me look in here and see what's around here, right? And start choosing some of this stuff that I've put here from the beginning of time before I got here. I put this these desires are just like my grocery shopping list. There's something that I put here so that when I got to the store, when I came into this physical being, I would remember what I wanted before I got here. The desires are largely a reflection of that. They're your grocery shopping list. But you don't make that when you're in the store. You make that before you get into the store. And then sometimes as you take your list out, you may modify it. You're like, you know what? I don't really want that. I'll get it next time. You cross it off. But you do that when you're there. But you have something that you can work with. So you're saying, okay, I did want this, but I think I'm gonna get it next week. Or I think I'm gonna get a smaller size or a bigger size. But it's just giving you something for you to work from, for you to work off of. Right? It's not for everybody. It's your shopping list. It's not for everybody else to start marking off and crossing and adding stuff and things like that. Right? This is for you. This is something that you created for yourself. So that when you went to where these things exist, you remember to get everything that you wanted before you got there. Sometimes we get distracted. Sometimes we start looking at other stuff we never planned on looking. So that's why we want a list. A lot of times it just helps us stay on track. And if we get extra things, great. But at least we remember what we really wanted, what we came here for in the first place. That's what we want to get, what we came here for in the first place. But we can always change our mind, add and subtract, but we definitely want to make sure we get the things that we came here for in the first place. Sparkle Bailey.
Question. Excuse me, question.
Yes.
Is life supposed to be hard? Are we supposed to accept that, life comes with challenges and life's going to be hard and you have times where you want to give up and, let go, blah, blah, blah. I'm listening to you and what I'm gathering is like everything is my decision. Everything is my choice. And so if I embrace that life is supposed to be hard, I'm embracing depression. I'm embracing, all these negative things. But my spirit, the little girl inside of me, before all the trauma, before all the, reveals, of life, she just didn't believe in pain and suffering. She was just like, we're going to do what we got to do. We're just positive and just the mind of a child, an innocent child who was loved properly. Like, that's who I miss. That part of me is who I miss. And so for me, yes, things happen. You get told no sometimes, things like that. But there was a sense of confidence where it was just like, yo, like, this is not supposed to be hard. Like, math was not hard. All I needed was my teacher to be like, great job. All I needed, or maybe not even what I needed, but what worked was just like, oh my goodness, great job. I always sat at the front of the class. I always shot my hand in the air first to answer questions or volunteer to read, things like that. I always wanted to be at the head of the line because that natural leader energy was just bursting inside of me. And then over time, I just learned to kind of like blend in. And that's where like all the problems started. The emotional and mental problems started because I don't feel like I'm supposed to blend in. I am a unicorn in this camp. Like that's realistic. But if, people over the years, all these fake theologians and all these other people or whatever, people with microphones, they oh, life is hard, it's supposed to be this, you have to get through it. But my brain is just like, it does not process that. Like, why do I have to teach myself that life is supposed to be hard and I'm supposed to overcome? And that does not make me want to be around y'all. I'm just being honest. Like, I need a new way to process this that's more relatable to little Sparkle Bailey, because like this is tricky for me.
Okay. So my response to that would be, if we are who we say we are, and that's if we are who we are learning to say we are here, if we are who we are learning to remember we are here, then when is it or should it ever be hard for what we're claiming ourselves to be? Meaning, it doesn't mean we don't put effort into life. It doesn't mean we don't run up the stairs and sweat, right? It doesn't mean we don't, burn calories when we walk. It doesn't mean we don't build muscle. It doesn't mean we don't put effort into life, that we're not physically doing things. I'm saying, if we came into this world knowing who we were, came into this world knowing how to cry, we came to this world with all these skills, then who were we before we came into this world? How could we come in with all of that? How could we come in with all this awareness and this knowledge and all these things? So who were we before we came here? So, and whoever we were before we came here, are we still that thing? Is what we have to ask ourselves. Are we still that thing? When all of us get off this call, and let's say let's say all of us in the house right now, we are who we are in this house. If we all, get off this call and we go into the car, and we get ready to go, we get in the car and we're ready to go somewhere, are we still the same person in this car that we were in the house? Has the car changed who we are? Has where we are, the location from the house to the car, are we still the same person in this car that we were in the house? I submit to you, yes. Yes. I'm not Freddie all of a sudden when I get in the car. Right? I'm not. So whatever I was before I got in this car is what I am. Right? So whatever we were before we came into this physical body is what we truly are. But now we're in an environment where it makes it look like we're something else. That's part of the enjoyment. That's part of it. But what makes it unenjoyable is when we have been conditioned, because we have been conditioned to lose our mind, kind of. We've been conditioned to second guess ourselves. In that book, that character, they said, let that same mind that's in Christ be also in you. Well, that mind said, no man takes my life from me. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. So everybody else with a microphone says life is hard, but that mind said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And we have to choose. We have to choose which one of those, right? Like remember those books we used to have, choose your own adventure books or your own adventure games, where you get that part of that was cool because you got to choose your own thing. You got to go this way, and then your other friend, they went that way. And because everybody is going their own way. Part of the glory of this is we get to choose our own adventure. But according to our mind, we may choose, one person may be an adventure, another one may be a horror, maybe a nightmare. Some people are dreaming, some people are having nightmares, right? But that mind said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So we have to choose which one of those, which adventure we're going to choose. Wrapping up to try to be a little more succinct so everybody can.
Can you hear me?
Yes. What?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I really need you to turn your computer maybe at an angle to your right, please.
To my right.
For the recording. Thank you. Or the other way. The sun is making you like we can't see.
Oh.
Yes.
This way?
It's the sun behind you,
It's because you're backlit.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Lean forward.
Of your screen.
Lean forward like this.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's you guys' fault.
Oh no, yeah. I need you to be in the picture. There you go.
Yeah, I blame you guys.
Stay there. Come back. Lean forward.
Like
or
this.
just close the blinds behind you.
There you go.
Take out the back
You
light.
put the right foot in. You put the right foot out.
Oh my God. Okay.
There you go. You're good.
There you go.
Okay.
So to try to be as succinct as I can, the point is that we were the same people we are now. The same being we are now is the same being we were before we got here. That being people call God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. In this body, we have named it something else. Kari, Lucky, Marcus, Justin, Leslie, Sparkle Bailey, whatever else it is. because we're in this body, because we're in a car now, we start believing now that we are a driver instead of, we start calling ourselves something different. But that's what we're calling ourselves differently is not really who we are. So calling ourselves different, calling ourselves something different, while exciting, we really believe we're human and it's exciting, but it also can be confusing if we don't realize it's just an act. It's just a character, it's just a mask, it's just a play. We're not really a driver. We're still Kari, we're still Lucky, we're still Veronica, we're still the same being that we were before we got in this car, right? But when we start calling ourselves something different and start thinking ourselves as different as a result, then things start popping up, to your point, that can be true, but they're not the truth. They can be true, that's why you can experience them. They're not the truth, that's why they're not happy, because they're actually against the truth. Sickness is against the truth. It's true, it can happen. It happens all the time, but it's not the truth. It's not your natural state of being. That's why it doesn't feel good. It's not that it can't happen. It's just that it's not a natural state of being. That's why your body's always fighting to get its health back. It's always trying to restore itself to its natural state, right? So the point is that if we remember that we really are who we really are before we got here, and being here doesn't change who we really are, it just might mean we're doing something different, but we're still, no matter what we are doing differently, it doesn't change that we are the doer, and the doer is us. So if we remember who we really are, then no, life is not supposed to be hard, not when you're thinking properly, because anything you get better at, what does it get? Easier. Nothing stays hard when you get good at it. It doesn't, right? It doesn't. So it just lets us know that we're not good at something. Maybe an aspect of life, we're not thinking properly about something, right? Just like you guys tell me now, hey, turn it down, or you're backlit, or, right? I had to listen to people who had a mature mind, who knew what they were talking about, and it changes my physical experience. Is it supposed to be dark? No. But if my mind doesn't know how to make it light, then it's going to be dark. But the people who know how to make it light, now you can see me. Right? So it's just it's just a lack of understanding in our mind, or an acceptance of something incorrect that changes our experience. And that's why only the truth, what you guys gave me light. It set me free. Now I'm in the light a little bit more, kind of coming and going. So I'll change myself again. Right?
Try to go maybe towards your left, like the light, not so the light is not behind you. Well, you probably have to like scoot the whole chair.
Yeah, man, I don't know what's happened. I blame you guys again, but
the sun behind you. I didn't know you were gonna be where the sun was gonna be.
Yeah, I didn't know. I got fouled. Oh, you know what?
It's not my fault. I'm gonna blame
I know what I
else.
can do. I'll turn it this way. I think maybe that'll help.
That's what. Yes.
Feel like
yes.
Does that work? Oh no, I didn't.
Oh. Well, if the blind behind you didn't pop open, that might have worked.
Not my fault. Okay.
Scoot forward so that you're not like hitting the blinds.
In the blind. That work?
That's better. Thank you.
I got fouled. Okay. All right.
Remote TS work.
Just saying all that to say that, yes, for God, nothing's hard. That's who you really are. That's who we really are. The highest level of consciousness. We're made in that image and likeness. Right? Our physical, we're made in that image and likeness. The characters we are, we're made in the image and likeness of ourselves. And who we really are before we got in this body, nothing is hard. When we remember who we are, we'll understand nothing has to be hard. It's just a choice. And if we believe that things are easy for us, whatever we believe, that's what happens. We have physical experiences that express our belief. There is no right or wrong or good or bad. There's only the physical expressions of what we believe. So if we believe life has to be hard, it will be. If we believe that life is easy for us, everything is always working for us, it'll two things either happen to get the same expression. Either nothing will ever happen, or when something does happen that looks challenging, your mind, your consciousness always rises to the occasion because nothing is supposed to be hard. Right? So it's like, oh, okay, nothing's supposed to be hard. Let's ramp this up. Let's get a better idea than a problem. Let's get more wisdom than a need. Let's just ramp this up. Right? You'll always have more than you need. Right? Look at water in the ocean, more than you need. Leaves on a tree, more than you need. Air in the world, more than you need. Stars in the sky, more than you need. That's you created more than you need in every area and aspect of life. And when you remember that who you really are, then you'll express that in your physical world too. In your physical body, more money than you need, more health than you need, more time than you need, you'll have more than what you need to express everything you want to express. And if that means struggle, you'll have more than that too. You have more than enough of that too. There'll always be something coming up. What now? Oh Lord, here we go again. When it rains, it pours. Right? Stress is just more than you need. Anxiety, worry is just more than you need. Just maybe in the opposite form of what you desire, but it's still more than you need. Right? That's your natural state, is abundance. It's never, the creator of this world doesn't live check to check. It's not just a meager existence. We always have more than what we need of disaster, calamity, fear, doubt, depression, anxiety, or wealth, peace, joy, happiness, success, love. We always have more than enough. It's always more than enough. That's the nature of who we really are. And you can see everything in the physical, natural world express that, right? Blades of grass on their lawn, right? Everything, right, is always more than what you could ever need or use, right? So we just choose what it is that we're going to experience at that level. So yeah, no, it's not supposed to be, but people condition themselves and each other and one another on that. And so we grew up believing that, and that's what our life is a reflection of. And the law is no respecter of person. So whatever you're believing yourself to be, regardless of how you got it or where you got it or when you got it, once you got it, you got it. Right? That's why we don't let our kids, our 3-year-olds, touch things when we go into the store. You break it, you bought it, right? We know they'll be touching stuff that they can't afford to break, right? Or that we can't afford for them to break. Like, don't touch that crystal. Are you out of your mind? Right? Don't touch anything. You know what? I got some handcuffs. Go on and put your hands up. Right? If we're not going to do this up in here, right? The law is no respecter of persons. And we understand that when we're dealing with our kids. It's like, hey, don't touch this, or don't touch the fire, or because we understand that, hey, you break it, you bought it, you touch it, you burn, you, right? We have to understand that how things actually work, right? So when we place that belief of hardship in our life, thinking that there's some kind of martyrdom or some kind of valor in struggle, Frederick Douglass said, without struggle, there's no progress. He said that in 1857, I think it was. And everybody's taking up that sword and said, oh man, there's no struggle, there's no progress without struggle. Now everybody says it, but God made the earth in 6 days, so to speak, and it didn't look like his back was hurting. Nobody's came and repossessed it. The sun is still working. Nobody's putting light bulbs in the sun or in the moon. The water's still coming and going, tide's still flowing. Water hasn't gone out. They said there's a drought everywhere, but the ocean ain't short. Then you got, sooner or later, you got to figure out who you're going to choose. Every day is a choice. Choose this day whom you serve. You can serve this side over here, the devil, the doubt, the worry, the stress, the fear, the anxiety, or you can serve the God that, as you really are, your natural state of prosperity, of abundance. I wish above all things, I wish for you to prosper, be in good health, even as your soul prospers. So bad health is not what you truly even want for yourself. Lack of prosperity is not truly what you want for yourself. The lack of your soul prospering, of your being growing and developing is not natural. It's the opposite is natural. The good is right. Your health is right. Your success is right. Your peace is right. Your joy is right. Your good business, your good desire, every good that you want for you is right. It may not be right for someone else. It don't have to be. It's only right for you. Is your name wrong because it's not someone else's? Right? Well, then why is your desire wrong because it's not someone else's? It's for you. It's for you, right? So no, if you just want to be straight 100, no. It's not normal, it's not natural, it's not correct. But it is common, it is normalized. So then people say that it is, but it's not. It's normal for people to get sick. Who thinks that's correct? When you got the flu, somebody say, hey, that's just the way it goes. Anybody happy with that one? Right? No, it's not normal, it's not natural, it's not correct, right?
So yeah. Kari said in the chat, in life, work must exist, but how we view it makes all the difference. Even computers do work, and sometimes they have to process more than other times. But would we call it hard? No, we'd say it's just doing more to produce more. Perspective makes all the difference.
It is, because perspective is based on your understanding of something. I walk a lot of times, it's early in the morning, maybe 4 in the morning, 3:30, 4 in the morning, and I walk outside a lot. I just like being outside. I like talking to myself. It's quiet. I can walk down the middle of the street, and I do literally, right? And just out there stepping. Man, do you know how many things I think I see at that time in the morning? I'm walking, I'm like, what is that? Right? You know how many poles I thought moved Do you know how many coyotes I thought I saw and it was a cat? Do you know how many, meaning like sometimes in the darkness of our mind, we hallucinate. We think we see things that aren't really there. We think, isn't it funny? In broad daylight, right? You don't hallucinate, you don't miss anything. You're like, oh yeah, that's a this or that's a that, or it's just when the light of your mind comes on, you see things clearly. It's not that you even see it's not that you see things differently, you just see things clearly in the sense of you can't see something that's not there, but in the dark of your mind, you would swear it's there. You would swear your business is going to fail because it's a recession. You could swear that was I could have swore that was a coyote and it was nothing but a cat. And when I got up close, the cat was so small. I'm thinking, how could I ever even thought it was a coyote? Because there are coyotes that live around us, but it's not even the same size. It's just, I look around, I'm like, man, I'm glad no one here's out here hearing what I'm saying to myself right now. Because I'd be they'd leave me all kind of insane and ridiculous. I'm thinking I'm seeing all kind of things. I'm thinking poles are talking to me and moving. And I'm like, what are you? But in the dark, boy, you think you see all kind of things, right? And so in the darkness of our mind, we have all kind of beliefs that we hallucinate on, stress over, worry, and with fear and anxiety because our mind is dark. But when you guys gave me the truth of move your computer, look at how it changes everything. It was only hard work for me because of ignorance. Ignorance causes what you would call hard work. Labor, as far as hitting a bat or hitting rocks or something like that, that's not the same type of thing, right? But we're talking about when you're struggling, we're talking about when no matter how hard you work, you're in the same spot. When you're talking about you have all work and no play, when you become weary and well-doing because you're not thinking properly. Your idea is not at a level that's going to make your physical effort valuable. It's not going to have an outcome, right? All physical work is not the same. It's not the same. So to answer your question, no, it's computers, like Kari said, computers work, but they're designed to work a certain way. And if you want to have a better computer, a lot of times, in my understanding, right, you're going to have to upgrade some kind of internal mechanism, right? Whether it's, I don't know, the program or the software or the bytes or whatever it is. I'm sure he could tell you more than you guys can probably tell me more than me. But the point is that internally you upgrade. Just getting a bigger monitor with the same internal stuff is not going to improve the speed of your situation, I don't think, right? So your life, your external monitor, that your life is not going to improve from the outside in, it improves from the inside out. It's the inside out. It's the systems we're running. It's how many bytes of memory we have. It's how fast is your processor. It's all those things. That is really what your computer is. The monitor is just showing you what's happening. It ain't making nothing happen, right? It's the same thing, right? So your programs, your processor, your RAM, all those, that's your computer. Your beliefs, your thoughts, the ones that you're entertaining constantly, not the ones that come across your mind, not the random thought or a random thing. That's the whole point, is that's not something to be afraid of. Just because your leg hurts doesn't mean you can't get to work. You do all kinds of that. So just because you have a thought that you don't like doesn't mean that it's going to lead to that outcome, right? You just address it, shake it off, choose another one, but keep pushing, right? They're not something for you to be afraid of. You are the thinker, so they're your thoughts. You are the believer, so they're your beliefs. You are the doer, so they're your deeds. You realize that as the top, you change the top and everything under it changes. If you are the thinker and you have a thought, then you have the power and the authority to change what you think. If you are the doer and something gets done, then you have the ability to change what you do. If you are the believer with a belief, you have the ability and the authority to change your belief. It ain't hard because it's yours. It's your right. And when we remember who we are, then all the other things that come as a result of who we are, then we realize we don't have to change these things. We change this thing, and all these things automatically change because as this changes, these change. When you have an idea to go on a diet, you eat different things. The difference of your eating.
Leslie said in the chat. Oh,
yes.
Leslie said in the chat, getting a better camera to point at ugliness does not improve the picture.
Correct. It just doesn't, right? Being mad at the mirror because you dress crazy. What are we doing? What are we doing? Right? No, it's not the way this works. Right? You can't change the external world. You have to change yourself because the external world is only a reflection of yourself. The world is a reflection of all of ourselves, humanity as a whole, right? But our world, your individualized world, is a reflection of you individually as the individual. And if you want something on the outside to change, you must change first inside. That's why I said the enemy, if there's no enemy within, the enemy on the out can do you no harm. As above, so below, as within, so without. Seek first the kingdom of God. In you, go in first. And right thinking, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Seek first, go inside first. That's where your kingdom is. That's where the kingdom is. And righteousness, right thinking. Seek first the kingdom of God and right thinking, right? And all these things will be added unto you. When you have a thought that you want, that thought will be brought into physical expression. What you call an invention, which is nothing but to stumble upon something. You didn't even make it. You just stumbled upon something that was already there. Everything we have, Disneyland is already there. But no 2-year-old has to go to Disneyland. No 1-year-old has to go to Disneyland. Somebody, a more mature mind would experience, whether it's a 5-year-old or a 55-year-old, gave them the concept of Disneyland. The desire you have is Disneyland. You didn't think that up. You're a parent, your higher self, your more mature mind gave you that desire to experience. You didn't know this thing exists before you had the idea. You didn't know Disneyland exists before somebody presented it to you. But the person who presented it knew it existed. They knew how to get to it. They knew what it was, what it meant for them, what it would mean for you. And they don't need your help. They just want to know, do you want to come with? Do you want to have this experience with me? That desire to have a great business or to have a great relationship or to have this or that desire you have didn't come from Kari. It didn't come from the meaning, the physical being. It didn't come from there. It came from your higher self believing itself to be Kari. But it has a physical expression that it wants to be able to have this interaction with physically. Disneyland, a marriage, a business, this, that. There's the physical experience of the idea, right? But you don't know these physical things exist in your human mind. You've never seen them. You don't know what you don't know. But your higher self, your true self, who you were before you got in this body, knows everything. So that desire is like a parent taking their child to Disneyland. That child doesn't know anything about Disneyland. You took it there, right? But because you knew that something existed that you wanted it to experience. That's what a desire is, Disneyland. Your desire for a business or a relationship or health or money or whatever is Disneyland. It's your higher self making you aware that something exists. And I want to experience this with you. My true self and my physical self. The two becoming one flesh. The idea and the experience, the two becoming one flesh. That's all it is. That's all it is. It doesn't need your help. It just needs your permission. But you ever try to put your kid on a slide and they just, for whatever reason, maybe they're afraid or they just don't feel like it and they're kicking and screaming, right? They're like, I don't want to go down the slide. I don't want to go down the slide. After a while, you just stop fighting. You just pull them up and like, all right, okay, we just won't do it then, right? But that's a physical experience you want them to have, but they won't have it. If they don't get permission, they won't have it. Well, the desire is the parent and we're the kid. The physical body, our names, we're the kids. And if we kick and scream against a desire, then our conscience is going to say, okay, I want to be a millionaire. You're like, yeah. And then Leslie shows up and be like, now, right? But the physical version of yourself is like, oh, so Leslie gets an idea to be a millionaire. She turned on by it. And then Leslie, the physical, shows up. Girl, now you know. Right? Now you talking yourself off the slide. We talk ourselves out of all kind of stuff. So then our higher self can't get us to experience that which we would love if we did it. Kicking and screaming, and then you go down the slide, you're like, oh, it's all right, let's do it again. You'd be like, no, you didn't. We've been doing it for 15 minutes. You could have been sliding for 15 minutes. Now it's time to go. Right? So a lot of it is you were trying to get, we are the parent, our higher self, our conscious mind, our consciousness, our consciousness is always trying to get our physical self to have experiences and how do we do that? By giving it a desire. Once we have a desire, then our physical mind, our physical being is alert. Oh yeah. And it's saying, but it's not saying, the desire is not saying I need your help. It's saying I need your permission. I just need you to agree. What parent is just going to throw their kid down the slide? What fun would that be for the kid? And what fun is it going to be for you when you go into the emergency room now? Then bust their head on the sand or something? Who would win? So what desire is your higher self going to give you that's going to lead to your calamity? Why would it do that? So the desire to have to be a millionaire, why is it going to give you that if it's impossible or it's going to harm you? Desire to have a great relationship, if that's not possible or it's going to harm you, what's the point? If you die, it dies, so to speak. That this relationship is over. When your car breaks down on the side of the road, the relationship is up, right? You got to figure out how to get this back on again, right? You suffer just like the car does. You're stuck just like the car, so to speak, right? So then why would your higher self give you something or desire to be or do or have something that's either A, impossible, or B, regrettable? For what? But it gives us the desire not for our help, but for our permission, because it just needs our help in the sense of, I just need the body to make this happen. It's not me that does the work. It's my Father in me. It's not the physical body doing the work. It's your awareness doing the work through your body. So whatever you're aware of, that's what your body is producing. Your body is not creating anything. It's only assembling the idea. The idea doesn't come from your body. It comes from your consciousness to your body, to what you call your mind. You're not coming up with anything. All these things are being brought to you. And if you decide, hey, I want that, that's good. Or, hey, I want that, but Mom, can you push me? But can you slide down there with me? You're like, all right, cool, I can do that. Hey, you know what? I want to be a millionaire. Can I be a millionaire doing makeup? Or can I be you say, okay, I want this type of experience. I want to go along with it. And that's what you get. Okay, cool, we can do that. I want to paint. All right, well, I'll paint with my feet. Can I do that? Yeah, okay, now I got a picture. Did that picture look like it was deformed? Did that picture look like, oh, well, they did the best they could? Right? Your desire is not deformed. It's not something that's just okay. It's something that turns you on. It's perfect. If you just go with it. And you can go with it if you realize you don't have to make it work. Just allow it to work by just being one with it. I'm now assuming myself to be this thing. I ain't got to do the work. It ain't my idea. So I don't have to know how to do it. I didn't come up with it. All I got to do is roll with it by assuming myself to be. Then just like that idea came to you, everything that it takes for that idea to become physical will come to you with it. But because it's not your idea, you don't have a way to make it work. So therefore you won't agree with it. You won't affirm it. You won't affirm it, not by saying it 100 times. You won't agree with it once. God said, let there be light. How many times? Once. Once. You can affirm something once. You know what? I woke up. I decided I want to be a millionaire. I don't know where the thought came from. It wasn't me. I just woke up and said, I want to be that. Yeah, okay, I'm now that. One time is good enough. One time. But then guess why one time becomes not good enough? Because you told your cousin. Told your brother, went out there and put it online in your affirmation channel chat people, and somebody says, well, you got to work for that. That's over. Your idea to be a millionaire wasn't even your idea. It just came to you as an idea. So the ability to make that happen does not have to come from you or through you. It doesn't. From you, it comes through you. So how that works comes through you. It's not even your idea. So then why do you have to make it work? So then essentially what you did now, when somebody tells you, oh, you got to work for that, essentially now what they did was put a condition upon your desire. So now that condition must be satisfied before your desire. So then what happens is you spend all your time trying to satisfy the condition. And until that condition is satisfied, you go without. When you could have won the lottery 3 weeks ago. Somebody could have donated something to you 3 weeks ago. Somebody could have came to you with an idea. Hey, I got a business plan. I got a venture. And Kari, all I need you to do is program the thing. And I'm going to give you $1 million. Yeah, you did work for it, but it wasn't your idea. And you didn't know how. You didn't ever plan that. Somebody came to you. But the way they came to you and the outcome of them coming to you is a physical reflection of you being a millionaire. Because they said they're going to give you $1 million for it. You didn't make that happen. You couldn't have called that person and begged them and asked them. They came looking for you. What did it say? If I be lifted up, I draw all men unto me. When you raise your level of consciousness, you draw things. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things are added. You're drawing and they're added. You're not chasing them or getting them. They're brought to you. They're drawn to you. That's what people call the law of attraction. You're attracting what you're conscious of being. You're just bringing into your physical world what you're non-physically aware of being. You're not creating anything. You're just bringing into your world what you're aware of being. That is a 1A, The one is the law of assumption. Whatever you believe yourself to be, that is what you are, and what you are is what you bring in. What you assume, you attract, so to speak. What you assume becomes a part of your physical world. You bring it from the non-physical to the physical, which people call manifesting. Whatever desire you have, don't condition it upon anything unless you actually want to have to satisfy that before it happens. You don't have to condition your thing. If you have an idea, just become one with the idea. It knows how to express itself. It knows how to become part of your physical world. It already exists. It knows how to bring it to you. But we start putting hurdles and chairs and desks and everything like we're trying to stop some kind of active shooter. And we line up all kind of stuff in front of the door, boy, so nobody can get in. Yeah, your desire can't get into your life. You've lined up all these things against it. I have to be this and I have to be that. Well, you know I'm not white. Well, you know I'm a woman. It doesn't really work. Well, you know Black lives don't really matter this month because it ain't Black History Month. Well, you know, we put all kind of obstacles in front of our way to have to overcome, and then we're too exhausted to do it. So we do what? Quit. We quit. We quit. Right? Stop putting obstacles in the way of your desire. Just allow yourself to be. You know what? If I like that and I feel like that's good, if I really got that, how would I feel? I think I'd like that. I'd like to be a millionaire. I'd like a new car. I'd like a this, or I'd like that. You know what? Okay, cool. I have a brand new car that I didn't even have to pay anything for. How's that going to work? I don't know. But I like the thought of it. I like the idea. And if everything's a choice, then why can't I choose that? If I'm God, why can't I choose that? When does God not be God? Meaning, when does that run out? When does your ability to believe or have whatever you believe, when does that run out? According to Sparkle Bailey's point, when does it run out? When is it okay to be not what you want? When does your ability to be what you want not be possible? When do you run out? When are you not enough? When is the gig up? Right? When have you been caught for identity theft? It never runs out. You always are who you are, whether you know it or not, like it or not, believe it or not, that's who you are. And if you can realize that, then you realize the gig is never up because God lives forever. That being that's making your body alive lives forever. It was alive before your body became alive. Can't you tell when people die, doesn't that body stop moving? Doesn't it shut its mouth finally? Right? You want to hear somebody be quiet? Go to a graveyard. You want to hear a whole bunch of people quiet going up there. Boy, it'd be so cool. You can't believe that many people around you that quiet. Because the body doesn't talk. The body's not a living thing. It's made alive by a living thing. That living thing is you. The gig is never up. You are who you were before you got in that body. You are the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning, the end, the first and the last. You are the author and finisher of your faith, the master of your faith, the captain of your ship. That's who you are. You better get used to it, better understand it in the sense of so that you can benefit from it. Otherwise, you suffer in ignorance. You give all your power away, all your belief away in everything and everyone else and wonder why you're not happy. How are you happy? You don't have nothing. You gave it all away. Your dreams away, your desires away, your confidence away, your respect away, your esteem away. You gave it away to everybody. To somebody else with a microphone, to somebody else with a white coat on, to somebody else with a this or that. Everybody's smarter than you. Everybody's better than you. But they were a baby just like you. They started off just like you. Now they put a white coat on, and all of a sudden there's something and you're nothing. Like, there's wisdom in the multitude of counsel. It's good to have good friends. It's good to have smart people around you. It's good to have people that you respect and love and can get advice from and get perspective and wisdom from. It's good. But don't ever take 100% of everyone else and none of your own, and it's your life. If you don't know how to think for yourself, you don't ever question anything, you don't ever say, what do I want? What's good for me? That's why people are so mad, especially when they get older, because they live their whole life on everyone else's terms and realize you still didn't get what you wanted, and you got what they wanted for you and you still don't like that. Right? So the gig is not up. You are who you are. You are that. You are him. You are her. You are that. You are that thing. You are that being. You are that power. You are that consciousness. You are that. And how do you know? Because you're sitting right here and that body ain't alive on its own. You are it. You're making it sit up straight. You're making it here. You're making it see. It doesn't do any of those things on its own. You do that. Without you, it's nothing. Without you, that car is nothing. Without you, that building is nothing. All the physical things are nothing without you. You are the living being. You're it. All right. Anybody have anything to say about that before we move forward?
You make me feel powerful.
I'm reminding you that you are. You are. You are. Whether you like it or not, this ain't no pump-up show, this ain't no carnival. You are. But if you know it, you can act like it. What if you had $10 million and like, what if Leslie, if your mom right now said, hey, did you get that money I sent you? And you'd be like, what money? Well, that $10 million that's in your account. And you're thinking, what account? Oh, I set that up for you 20 years ago. You know how mad you'd be? You'd be like, do you know what I could have been doing for 20 years and you got me out here doing, and you just telling me right now? You wouldn't want to, you wouldn't want, you don't know if you should say thank you or I hate you. You don't know which one to say at that moment. Like, you let me go this long. Bye. And you'd be out. You'd be clicking and clacking on the computer. You'd be at Bank of America, wherever you could get access to quick as you'd be there. Do you realize that we're sitting on the wealth and the health and the success of ages within us? This is who we really are. This is who we are. That's what this is about. This is not no pump-up show. This isn't nothing to make you feel better about feeling bad, feel good about being broke, sick, destitute, this is not something to make you feel better while it's bad. To just hold on to God's unchanging hand. Well, I wish God's hand would change because I'm broke and I want to change up in here. What is happening? Change something, right? What are we talking about? No, this is not that. This is a reminder of who we really, all of us are. You are that. You are like that. You are him. You are her. You are that. Right? It's a reminder that you are powerful, whether you like it or not. So powerful that your life can be great or you can destroy it. What does it say in that book? I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. I am God and there is no other. You cannot be saved from my hand. You cannot be saved from your consciousness. You are running from yourself. We're only young kids out here trying to run out of their shadow because only they're young enough to think you can do it until they get tired and realize, okay, I can't get the cat off me. I'm just going to go and sit down now. I'm sweating, I'm hot. And your shadow just sitting there like, are we done? Are you through? Is that all you got? If you want to do a little more, you good? Yeah, right? Remembering who we are. That's who we are. That's who we are, right? And my intention is to remind you of that. So you can choose to remind you of who you are, so that you can choose what you want that to be in physical expression. Body first. Your body's your first physical expression. This is who you are. Then after that, you choose how you express yourself from here and everything else out. So I always tell you guys, I don't care what you want. I just want you to have it. My job, my intention is to remind you that you can choose anything you want to physically be. And no, you don't have to struggle. No, you don't have to work hard. No, you ain't got to know. It's not who you know and what you know and all the other stupidity that people go by and all the other stuff. Because you can't know anyone but yourself. Remember we talked last week, Viola Davis and Denzel? All them characters they were playing, it was just one person playing all of them. So any person that you think, oh, it's not what you know, it's who you know. All you know is you. So all you do know is you. It's just you playing a different version. That's you. So when you say, I have a wonderful business, or I have perfect health, or my work is easy and light, all you're going to get is physical expressions, whether they're in a person, a place, a situation, a circumstance, a condition, or a thing. All you're going to get, those physical things are going to come out to express what it is you're thinking. So you'll meet a person like, yeah, oh, here you go. And you think, oh man, they gave me something. No, they gave you something through them, because there's only one you. Believing itself to be 8 billion versions of itself, but there's only one you. Hear, O Israel, hear, O person who knows that God, Israel, one of the primary definitions of Israel, Yisrael, is man who rules as God, humanity, the person who knows who they really are. There's hear, O Israel, hear that person, here. There's only one God, one God, in all, above all, and through all. The earth is the Lord's, the earth is God's, the fullness thereof, everything in it and on it. There's only one. There's only one consciousness playing, believing itself to be 8 billion people doing all these different things. But because I believe myself to be this, I believe that I have a good business and it's easy, then now I'm going to have a physical expression of that. That may come through a person, it may come through a circumstance, through a condition, a thing, but it will come physically in my world because all physical things are a reflection of mental things. This comes after this. So this person didn't really give me anything. They didn't really take anything from me. They were just the physical representation of my thought. That's why Jesus said, nobody can steal anything from me. Nobody can take anything from me. You can't take my life. You can't kill me. And when the guy, Pontius Pilate, said, I can kill you, he said, you can't do anything except I only accept because the Father in me has given you the power to do so. My consciousness is allowing you. I'm allowing you to do that because it's part of the plan. Nothing can be taken from you. You're just using somebody to take something from you because you have the thought, the consciousness of something being possible to be taken. See, your consciousness is always expressing itself in physical form. But there's only one consciousness. You're just using another aspect of yourself to take something from you or to enrich you. They're just versions of you. That's why there's some people you'll see, some people you won't. And that's why as you start to think different, you'll realize you start to meet different people. When you start to believe your business is this, when you start to say, oh, I want my business to expand, you start to meet physical people that represent expansion. Those people always existed. How come you didn't know them before then? Because they're not a part of your consciousness, so they can't be a part of your physical world. Your physical world is a mirror of your consciousness. That's all it is. So nobody's taking anything from you. They are the physical expression of your consciousness. I can be, oh man, people gonna steal from me if I don't lock this up. Okay, lock it up. It was still stolen. They just took the safe. Okay, they just took the safe. They didn't take the money out. They just took the whole thing. But you thought you were safe because you got a safe. No, you're not safe physically if you're not safe mentally. If you're not safe in here, you're not safe out there. I don't care how many doors you lock, seatbelts you put on, how slow you drive. I don't care if you don't drive the freeways. I don't care if you don't drive at night. I don't care if you got a safe with 48 safeguards on there. They'll just steal the whole thing. Whatever it takes physically to express your belief internally is what it's going to be. Who's going to stop God from doing anything? Who's going to stop God from stealing from himself? It's only God stealing from himself. And God don't mind doing it because you can't steal from yourself. Leslie, if you took $50 out your purse, you stole from yourself. Then you put it in your pocket. You just gave it to yourself. What did you just do? Nothing. You did nothing. You took money out your purse and put it in your pocket. What did you do? Somebody comes and steals your stuff. It's only God stealing from itself. That's it. But it's only physically happened because there's a consciousness inside that believes that can be happen, that can be possible. Just because we don't know how it's going to happen, we think, oh, since it didn't happen the way I thought, then that really wasn't my idea. Yeah, no, it is your idea. But God is perfect in the sense of, I know the most effective and efficient way to get your point across. Oh, somebody can steal from you? Perfect. Oh, you're in good health? Oh, no problem. Got you. Got you. Don't matter what's going on out here. If you don't have the concept of that, it can't happen. If you don't have the idea, how do you invent it? Has anybody ever invented anything they didn't have an idea? How do you do that? Right? Right? Why do you think in math all the time when you're young, especially the teachers make you show your work? Because anybody can come up with an idea or an answer, but if you can't show your work, if you can't show me how you got there, either this is wrong or you can't replicate it on a consistent basis correct. You just may have got lucky this time, but luck ain't gonna save you in this 50-question quiz. They make you show your work. Yeah. Every day in your life, you're showing your work and there's an outcome. If you want to know what it is, take a look. Look at your hand, look at your eyes, look at your teeth, look at your feet, look at your money, look at your relationships, look at your house. That is what's going on. That's your work. That's your work. Nothing can happen to you on the outside. It's not happening to you. It's just reflecting what's going on in you. It's not happening to you. As crazy as it is, as painful as it may be, as saddening as it may be, it is not happening to you. It's only a consequence of what's happening in you. And everybody has their own situations. I don't know. I can't believe, oh, she was so nice. You don't know what people are thinking. You don't know what's going on in people's mind. You can be a nice person and live a bad life. Literally that statement I just made to you is what started my whole journey on this situation. I thought to myself, I'm a pretty decent person, but does it matter? Does it matter if you can't pay your bills? Does it matter if your foot hurts every time you wake up? Does it matter if whatever else, if you can't see and you can't afford glasses? Does it matter Does it matter? If you're a good person, how come you don't have a good life? Well, something is not correct here, right? And so I said to myself, there's got to be more than what I know, because what I know is either not enough or it's not correct. And like most of us, we grew up in certain backgrounds, or we grew up hearing certain things, and it ain't adding up. The math ain't mathing, as we say, right? If all this is true, how come I'm over here? How come this is happening? Or how come this isn't happening? Most of us are here because we're not lazy, because we're not stupid, because we're willing to work hard, let's just say. But we're realizing it's got to be more to it than this, because even after all of this, I'm still not really, I should be getting more bang for my buck here, right? And before we decide to quit, we woke up. We're like, wait a minute, something's going on here. And then you look around and there's a lot of people asleep, but you see 2 or 3 other people that kind of sat up and looked up. And you're like, did you hear that? Right? Or did you see that? And only the people that are awake see it. Everybody else is asleep. And so then those 2, 3, 4, 5 people get up and they start walking around. You come together and you say, well, we don't want to wake these people up. And you're thinking, we making all this noise and you still asleep? Okay, well, so then you guys decide to go outside. You decide to start coming to places like this, or to start talking, listening to other videos, Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Louise Hay, Neville Goddard, Abdullah, Frederick, Eichenkotter, Dr. Rev Ike. You start listening to all kind of people that are a reflection of your consciousness. You're waking up. They're starting to talk about things that you're thinking about. And you're like, oh, that's what that means. That's why I had that thought. That's what all these things are. Right? You are like that. We are like that. We are this thing that we've been looking for on the outside, that we've been putting up on a wall and genuflecting with and doing all this 1,000 times. There's no hate. There's no judgment or criticism. It's just things that are done in ignorance because we've been conditioned to do them. But that's not where the power is. The power is on the inside. It's on the inside. That's who you really are. Right? So I'm glad that you said that, because it gave me a chance to say that. All right. Anything else anybody want to say before I move on to the last point? Good, because I want to hear me more anyway. So listen, last thing here, the freeway. Call this one the freeway. When you have two cars going right next to each other on a freeway, they're right next to each other on a freeway. That is called, what would you call those 2 cars going right next to each other? What is that? They're going the same way right next to each other. There's a word I'm looking for. What word is that? Between you and this person, you guys are right next to each other. What is that?
Symmetry.
Okay.
Ongoing.
Okay.
Parallel.
Okay. But what is it between you and them?
Monique put in the chat a race.
Okay. But what is it between you and them?
A line. A line.
And okay.
Friction.
Huh?
Like-mindedness.
Okay. What is it?
Friction.
What did you say?
Friction.
No.
Space.
Okay.
Distance.
Okay. A relationship. Something is going on between you two, right? And how do you know that's true? What happens if you take that line down?
Somebody will swerve and you get closer, you start to swerve.
So that means that line, even though you have a relationship, that line is what?
A boundary.
A boundary. And that boundary is what? Why do you have it?
Protection.
Protection. So just from what we said, put that together. What did we just say? What did we just come up with?
Relationships need boundaries for protection.
Hey, don't be trying to take my spot up here. Do not. No. Right? Relationships need boundaries for protection. We talk about this every week. And we're always, and I hear us talking about it every week. Well, what happens if so-and-so? What happens if they? What happens if they? What happens if they? I'm the only one around that does this. I'm this. Let me get something real clear to you. You take those lines down off a freeway, what do you have then? It's bumper cars. It's a nightmare. You take the center divider down on a freeway, that concrete thing in the middle, what you got then? And now you going one way, another car going the other way, and there's no center divider to keep this fool away from this fool at this rate of speed. What is going to happen?
A collision.
Now, right? What's going to happen?
The collision. Yeah.
Right? So then those dividers, those lanes are necessary for the well-being, the health, and the happiness, the sanity, the peace, the whole being being kept intact in a relationship. If you do not have boundaries, standards, or lanes in your relationships, you don't have one. And all you have is some form or varying degree of calamity, catastrophe, and chaos. That's all you have. And guess what? When somebody's doing too much coming this way and you're going the other way and they're going 150 miles an hour, right? Aren't you glad you have that center divider up? Right? A lot of times in relationships, people want you to lower your standards, your boundaries, or your lines to make them feel comfortable, to give them more freedom of expression and of space. Take that line down and see what happens. You need to establish boundaries, standards, and dividers based on what your desired outcome in a relationship is. Because both people in a relationship, or however many people are in it, have responsibilities. Everybody has a lane. And though you all may be going together, you can't necessarily do each other's job. You can't be in each other's business. Everybody, the only thing that makes all of us going one direction at 70, 80, 90 miles an hour are these little skinny lines. That's the only thing that's keeping us safe from a couple 1,000-pound vehicle ramming into mine and changing my whole day, week, life, month, or anything else. Are some lines. And yet you think it's a relationship. It's the only thing keeping you safe. Is that those little skinny lines and some dots on your side. If you went on a freeway, got on the ramp, and you saw that there were no lines, it was just a piece of asphalt or just a piece of freeway, and there were no lines, would you want to go on there? Anybody? Would anybody like, man, this is it? No one in their right mind would want to go on there, because you realize there's no way to be safe, because there's no standards, there's no boundaries, there's no place you should or shouldn't be based on what? Right? Everybody just gets to pick how they want to drive. Well, then why does everybody just get to pick how they want to live in your life? Why does everybody get to just love me for who I am? No. No. Absolutely the hell no. So you got me upset. You guys got me upset. Yeah. I can't throw the marker now. So now I got to do something. Now I got to, I got to do something else now. Hit a seat now. Absolutely not. You don't. And no one else gets to you don't get to be in somebody else's life talking about accept me for who I am. What? You mean while you're drunk driving? You just accept just gone and you in and out. We just supposed to just, what? Oh, just accept the fact that sometimes I just like to get over without putting my blinker on at 90 miles an hour. How do I know when you're going to do that? I don't know, but just it's unconditional love. It's unconditional driving. What? Nobody could. What are you talking? Where did you? No. So let me say this. Because I've been waiting to say this part all week. Like, I want to make sure we're clear here. When we are learning how to think, when we're remembering who we are, that does not mean that we're some kind of sacrificial lamb, some kind of martyr, that we're here talking about turning the other cheek and giving everybody our coat. And if they want your coat, let them take your zippers and your slippers and your sandals and your wallet and your wig and your everything else with it. Don't let it just let them borrow your car with no gas in it, bring it back with no gas in it, and put 2 dents in it and just give you the keys and peace. No, but no. Every relationship in our life has to have standards, boundaries, and dividers in order for it to be positive, productive, fruitful, successful, healthy, happy, and safe. If you don't have any, you don't have a relationship. All you have is a dictatorship. All you got is slavery. All you have is some perverse form of it, of interaction. You don't have a relationship. If I can't count on you, you can't count on me. If I can't ask you for something, you can't ask me for something. If there is no reciprocity and some agreed upon guidelines, you don't have that. And all you're going to do is sooner or later is get yourself hurt. And then you're going to be mad at them, mad at relationships. Oh, men ain't this, women ain't that. Oh, I don't need girls because girls talk too much. I don't need guys do this, or all the other stupid things people say because you pick improperly and because you have no standards, no boundaries, no guidelines that you're willing to stand on your square, stand 10 toes down on, stand where you are and say, this is what it is. Can you imagine if that concrete divider was there one day and wasn't there the next day? If it moved because somebody needed more space? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Right? Some things have to just remain as they are. This is the line. This is what it is. If you don't like it, don't get on this freeway. Or don't get in my lane. Drive faster than me, drive behind me, get over. There's some people that are driving that you just like, well, I don't know what they got going. Right? Then you have some people, and they probably shouldn't be driving. They're like 200 years old on the freeway, in the slow lane, going too slow in the slow lane. It's like, you do know there's a freeway, you can't go 25 on here. I know there's a slow lane, but you're going 25. And then you go around, speed around, and you start to honk. And then when you drive right by them, you look over, and they just like this little old person driving, and you almost feel bad for wanting to honk. You're like, oh, man, bless their heart. You know what? It's all right. You're not even mad anymore. You're like, they're doing the best they can do, right? So sometimes you have to switch lanes. But my point is that for any relationship in our lives to be positive and productive, fruitful, successful, valuable, you have to have some standards and some boundaries. It's not, no one has a right to just come in your life drunk driving. Nobody gets to come in there and just switch lanes because this is just who they are and accept me for who I am. There is no unconditional love any more than there's unconditional getting over without your blinker on. That's just some cap. Everybody that's a whole other situation and we don't have time to go into that. But everybody using the word unconditional love just because you want to be able to act a fool and I'm supposed to just accept that unconditionally? Absolutely not. How come you don't love me enough to not do that? It ain't just on you to be sitting here like you're some kind of recycling bin. And everybody just gets to come and slap you around, push you around, and you walking around, God is good, while you getting hit in the back of the head. People taking money out your wallet and people driving your car, you wake up and your car is gone. That's not what this is, right? Every relationship in your life has to have some kind of standard, some boundary, some dividers. This is what we do. This is what we don't do. This is acceptable. This is not acceptable. This works. This doesn't work. I do this. You do that, period. And when you get over without putting on your blinker, you might get honked at. Doesn't mean I'm mad, but maybe you didn't know I was there. But if I don't honk, I will be mad at the outcome of not honking. So just because you honk doesn't mean you're mad. Sometimes you just have to alert people to your presence. Sometimes they just didn't see you're in their blind spot, or sometimes they're just being careless and they have to be awakened, right? But it is important for you to realize that, hey, nobody just gets to come in here and just do whatever they do. This is not that type of party. Have some standards, have some boundaries, have some lines in your life, in your relationships, so that you can have good ones and you can identify when they're not good. And if people can't drive, get away from them. If they can't drive, don't get in the car with them. This is not, you don't owe your life to anybody else's carelessness, right? So I want everybody to understand that this is not a place where we're learning how to be punks and suckers and getting hit on the head and thinking that we have to take everything and accept anything and take the high road. And there's no, I'm on the right road. You take a different road, right? There's no high road here. This is the road. You get off on it. You can't drive right. Get off, right? So I want everybody to understand that. You don't have to be mad. You don't have to be mean, but you will be mad and mean if you take them lines down. You will be hurt. That's why you get mad and mean, because you get hurt, right? And a lot of times, if you don't have one, you'll get hurt. And if you don't get one after that, you get hurt again. Get you some standards, get you some boundaries, get you some lines, right? That are comfortable for you in a relationship, and get and agree with that person on what they are. And because you can't agree to disagree on everything. There's some things you have to have an agreement on if you want to have a relationship, right? Especially the most important ones to you, right? So I'm not going to go too deep into that, but that's enough for you guys to get the point. Nobody just gets to be a drunk driver in your life. Nobody just gets to get over without putting the blinker on. Nobody gets to put their right blinker on and then hit a left. Nobody just gets to slam on the brakes right in front of you because they scared. Nobody, like you have to make sure that your relationships are going as they should based on the boundaries, standards, and guidelines that you've set out, that you guys adhere to in your relationship. All right. Anything anybody want to say before we go? I know it's 9, so want to let you guys get out on this holiday weekend, do your last little bit of eating, shopping, and everything else. Anybody have any questions, comments, anything they want to say?
Coach Lucky, thank you. As always, your sauce, it just is right on time, especially with the holidays, just kind of reevaluating family dynamics and what is family truly, what are relatives truly versus what is family truly. And so this is just helping me to be more, every call helps me to be more accountable to myself, my mindset, my power, all of that. Like, I leave these calls feeling like I just came up out the water, like every single Saturday, and I only invite certain people to these calls because everybody doesn't want to be accountable yet. So I'm not interested in introducing people to something so powerful when they're not ready for the power that comes with it and the accountability that comes with it. And just every freaking week, I'm like, I'm reminded. It's not like you're teaching me this, Coach Lucky. You're reminding me what I already knew. And it's just, this is like everything. This is the place to be. This is the place to be. This is the ultimate safe space. Let me help y'all out with testimonials or whatever it is that y'all need to build what you're building, because this is helping me to come out of my shell. Like, I know I don't belong where I've been. I know that. And it's just a healthy reminder. Like, I appreciate everybody in the comments. Like, this place is so supportive. So just thank you. I hope that you feel the energy of what you're doing for others. I hope you feel that back every Saturday. You deserve that, because this is an investment you're giving us. So we have to invest back. Like, thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, and all of you, and thank you. Thank you. And I'm glad that we all come to realize that that's all we're here is to remember who we are. And people need to be reminded more often than they need to be taught. We remind ourselves every week. And the more we remind ourselves, the more we believe it, the more we believe it, the more we apply it, the more we apply it, the more you see it. You will see that you are what we're talking about, all of us. So thank you. Thank you.
Coach, you helped me complete my dad's favorite saying.
Okay.
Today. He used to always say, people tend to suck. And now I can add, especially if you allow it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Real quick, I just wanted to share, this is confirmation because I have a family member that I asked not to call me before 9 a.m. and he tends to pick up the phone and want to talk smack at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, you're disturbing my peace, brother. So I just don't answer. And he started making me feel guilty. Like, well, what's more important than your son? Let's talk about, I'm like, no, my peace is more important, but this is just confirmation. So thank you.
Yes. Well, last thing I'll say is that it's important to have standards, and it's important to know what they are so you can stand on them, because a lot of times people want you to move your standards, but then what happens is both of you end up lost and there is no standard. And when you learn how to hold your own, you start to realize that a lot of times people come back because the standards you held or that you hold make you a standard in and of yourself. They don't know your standards, but they know you. And so they end up coming back to you because you hold standards. And so you become the North Star when people will eventually start looking to become free. But if the North Star starts saying, well, I can move because nobody's looking up, then when people are ready to get free, there's nowhere for people to look up to. There's nothing or no one to look up to. So the standards you hold makes you become a standard yourself. And people have something to look up to when they're ready to change, when they're ready to turn around. They're like, God, I don't feel like hearing Sparkle Bailey's mouth this morning, but I got to hear that.
They're going to hear it. They're going to hear it. They're going to hear my mouth. They gonna hear my mouth. They gonna hear my mouth, Coach Lucky. Right. I wanted to add to what you were saying real quick, and then I'll fall off. But the reality is, like, I'm in that space right now. So whoever else is in that space, I want them to understand, like, let's walk through this space together. There are people right now in my reality who are just like, you know what? I don't want to deal. I don't want to play ball with you. I don't like the fact that you are getting everything you point at. You get it. Everything you desire, you get. And I'm not living that life. And it's pissing me off that I can't have what you have. And they're pushing me. And these are people who matter in my life. Mm-hmm. They salty. So they're pushing me aside. Mm-hmm. And it hurts. Mm-hmm. But guess what? Coach Lucky just reminded me, every last one of y'all gonna crawl back, because that's how I roll. Every last one of y'all gonna crawl back. You're gonna crawl slowly, because I'm gonna keep walking backwards and making you crawl even farther. I'm not playing. I'm so serious. This is who I am. When you realize, like, it was just about her having standards. All I did was create boundaries. Mm-hmm. I didn't say, you know, I don't want you around. I don't love you. I just created standards. Mm-hmm. And year after year, these same humans, they won't leave me alone. Mm-hmm. If it's so bad, why you won't just get out of my life? Mm-hmm. If it's so horrendous, why you won't just leave me alone? It's so much more I could add to that, but anybody who's experienced that or who is experiencing that right now, like, people treating you funny, people who matter, I ain't talking about regular people who matter in your life, treating you funny because you have standards, it's a weird way of saying I'm jealous and I want to understand how to set standards for myself like you have. That's weird to me. Why are you mad that I'm setting standards for my... Listen, y'all be encouraged, man. Like, these calls make me want to stay, like, around. These calls make me want to, like, keep going. Because there's so many times hanging around the wrong type of mindsets. It makes you want to just let go. These calls remind me of, like, what I'm supposed to do on this planet. Like, oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Coach Lucky. Thank you.
Thank you all. And that's the intent I have for all of you, for all of us to remember who we are so that we can choose who that is and what we do with that, right? And every drunk driver hates the center divider and the dotted lines, because they think they want to use them all and think they could use them all. But after a while, you get pulled over and you lose access to your freedom, right? And then after a while, you learn, those same drunk drivers learn they have to be sober when they drive, and they have to start obeying the lines like everyone else. So people do end up a lot of times coming back, not because we're good and they're bad, but just after a while, if you want to be successful, there's certain things you do and certain things you don't, and that's what it is. If you want to have a license, there's certain drinks you can drink and certain ones you can't drink, certain ways you can drive, certain ways you can't drive. It's not personal. It's just personal if you disobey them. Right? So it's good to hold a standard for yourself, and everyone else has to abide by that if they want to deal with you. But you start to realize that you don't catch a pearl before swine. You don't make people be something they don't want to be. You want to drive like that? Cool. I'm just not going to be in a car with you, and I'm not going to be driving next to you when you swerve. I'll let the center divider or the highway patrol deal with you, but it will. And when you're ready to drive straight, the center divider and the highway patrol will leave you alone. It is very simple, right? So absolutely, all of us. Yes, thank you. Anything else before I let you go? I know it's 9:08, so I want us to get out, but just want to make sure everybody else has anything.
Great call as always. Great call.
Okay. Well, hey, thank you all. Hey, have a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving weekend. Always great to see you. Thank you all for coming, and have a great rest of the weekend. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy each other.
Oh, Justin, kind of cut out a little. Your connection's choppy, Justin. Try it again. It's like computer love.
It's just choppy. Listen, there's all kind of electronics. Boy, he be.
Yeah, Justin's like electro.
I'm sorry, y'all. What about now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes.
All right, real quick, my bad, Coach Lucky. I know you was about to end. I
No, it's good.
do got something for you though. So I got something interesting. You were talking about a lot of things today. And I was like, I'm not going to share, but I'm like, no, I gotta share, right? So recently, when Vero went to Puerto Rico, I actually went to Dominican Republic around the same time. I went to go see my dad. I haven't seen him um in like 7 years. And then before that, I haven't seen him in like 15 years. So, it was a really, really defining moment for me to like kind of reunite with my dad. So it was just interesting to see like, some of the things that like just who I am, it like, it's like, dang, that's my dad, right? So like I've been having these issues with my stomach, right? So I go over to see my dad and he's telling me about how, he has the same problems with his stomach, right? Um, and then like throughout that week, just learning more about my family history and stuff. And like I'm asking him about his dad, and he's like, you know, my father died when he was like, whatever age. And I'm like, well, what did he die from? He was like, stomach cancer. I'm like, oh. And then asking about his brother, and then like, you know, his brother died from like stomach cancer. So out of all of the things that I took home from that trip, I came home, you know, thinking that like that's how serious it went. I'm like, I scheduled an appointment with my doctor. I'm like, doc, before I left, I was having problems with my stomach. And now I really know there's problems with my stomach. And I'm like taking this thing deep. And she, my doctor's like, no, I mean, like in third world countries, the healthcare is a little different. Like, I think you'll be fine. And I'm telling you, for like 2 months straight, my stomach got worse. I literally was probably manifesting like this sickness, right? And I'm like, and I was talking to Vero about some of this stuff too, and she always puts me back in check. But I went to this like prayer meeting last Sunday, and it's just, it's like the power of like really making a decision, right? So I go to this prayer meeting last Sunday. It was like a special healing service. And this one lady, she's like, she's known for like praying for people and like, healing them or whatever. And like I gotta find the lady, right? I gotta find the lady, right? So I say, hey, Sister Carmen, I need you to pray for me. I've been having problems with my stomach. I went to go see my dad, and like all of this was not even important. I'm telling her the whole story, and I was like, my grandfather died from stomach cancer, and she just like looked at me and she said, you don't receive that. You don't believe that. You don't have nothing's wrong with your stomach. And she prayed for me. And then, I was getting ready to leave and then I seen somebody else and I was like, hey, it's good to see you. Hey, real quick, you mind saying a prayer for me? Right. So and I was telling her the situation. She's like looking at me like, you crazy, nothing's wrong with you. And I went home and I'm like, Lord, please, like, let there be nothing wrong with my stomach, right? So I wake up and interesting, I'm like, no problem with my stomach. And I had a appointment with the specialist and I was telling him what was going on. And, he basically gives me a sheet of like, foods to avoid, new diet or whatever. And, before you know it, it's like a whole week goes by and I'm like, I don't have any problem. Nothing's wrong with my stomach. So I'm saying all that to say this, how much of that could be self-induced?
All of it.
It's all self-induced. It's just a matter of when along the scale you realized it's you. A lot of times it's self-induced, but we don't realize it's us. So then we get something. Then we think like, oh, well, I have something, so I'm not just making it up. But it was made up by your awareness, which created it, but you didn't realize that it was self-induced here. It's just until it shows up here. But since you didn't realize it here, you think it just started with here. You don't realize it's been self-induced. That's the only way it could be created, right? So And there's a lot of things that we, like I said, are conscious and subconscious. But to the point is that the only thing hereditary that's passed down from generation to generation is belief. That's it. Because all belief creates everything, right? And so everything starts with an idea. And so the ideas keep getting passed down. And so the outcomes keep getting passed down. But it's not actually, if you didn't have that thought, if you didn't do these things, you wouldn't get the same outcomes, right? Our heredity, what we call heredity, is just a gene. And a gene is just nothing but it's just a cell with information in it. Information that is been given by an idea. I have an idea, here's the information, here's the gene, here's the expression. So every physical expression starts with an idea first. So the only heredity we have is idea. That's being passed down, passed down, passed down. When you change the information, when you change the gene expression, like Bruce Lipton talks about, right? When you change that, it changes everything, right? That's what epigenetics is. It's the understanding that information controls the gene and the gene controls expression. You change the information, the gene will express something different. It's not the gene expressing on its own. The gene is taking orders from something. Your immunity is not expressing on its own. It's taking orders from something, which both of those, the governor is your consciousness. So if you have a consciousness of poor health, how it expresses itself may be the same because you're around people who think the same type of things, even whether it's proximity or whether it's just, there's people, all of us think the same in a lot of ways and we're not near each other, right? So we're going to get the same outcomes even though we're not close. So ideas don't need proximity. A lot of times ideas are bolstered or created because of proximity. A lot of people think the same way that are close, but you can have the same ideas with somebody way over here. So it's just essentially heredity. What's being passed down is the thought and therefore the belief in the thought because it expresses something. Oh, I must get it. But no, it's just if you change your mind, you change your outcome. And it's literally that simple. It's not always that easy, but it's literally that simple. It's literally, that's the truth.
No, that's good. No, I appreciate it. I just had to get that out, that little rant.
Yeah, no, it's just a belief. It's just the devil is just a belief in is just the opposite of God. The devil is just the doubt. It's the belief that you're not prosperous and in good health even as your soul prospers. It's just the doubt, just the opposite of the truth. That's all. Doubt is the opposite of truth, right? Ignorance is the opposite of knowledge, right? Stuff like that. So it's just the belief in something. But everything takes our belief, whether it's so-called good or bad. It takes our belief to be alive. It takes our belief to be just. It takes our belief to be sick, our belief to be well. Belief is the underlying current that goes through everything, because without us, nothing is alive on its own. Take our belief, you take life from whatever you take it from. So take your belief of sickness, you take that life of sickness out of your life because it can't live without your belief, whether that's consciously or unconsciously, right? That's it. Yes, sir.
That's heavy.
Yes, sir.
Nah, thank you, Coach Lucky. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and the family. And happy Thanksgiving to all of us. And thank you for everyone for coming. It's always an honor and pleasure every week. And I'll let you guys go. I know it's well past 9, so I don't want to hold you all. But thank you all for coming. And it's always great to see you. Have a wonderful week. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Peace.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.